This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol live. It's a freaking Wednesday, and I'm not high enough for this shit. I guess I'll break out the bong. Yeah, let's do that. Where's my marijuana at? Good evening, welcome. News be doing stupid shit. Pretty much the intro every night, isn't it? News be doing stupid shit. Where's my pot at? We'll go back to Chim Dog. I did Girl Scout cookies last night. Chim Dog tonight. I was really annoying Curiouser because I kept saying Chim Dog. She's like, I think it's Kim Dog. Well, excuse me. Sometimes I like to mispronounce things on purpose. Like the time I went in that weed store and it was hermaphroditically sealed. I'm sorry. Also, was not aware until just the other day that apparently hermaphrodite is now a slur. Who knew? And I didn't realize that they actually don't have a dick and vagina. It's like the presence of testes material with a vagina, or the presence of like ovary material with a dick or something. It's wild. So, okay, learn something new every day. DJ Dub, good evening, my friend. Let me cash this motherfucker out. Holy shit. Trump is continuing his attack on a federal judge despite a smackdown from Chief Justice John Roberts. The scary part about this is how all the right-wing media is telling their followers that the judge is behaving unconstitutionally. And people are buying it. That's fucking scary. Stephen Miller asked questions about the Trump administration's extrajudicial bullshit. Says he's confused. Jim Jordan says all options are on the table regarding the judge. Gutfeld, as one of those media people I'm going to show you go off on this judge. It's kind of fucking scary. Elon apparently afraid for his life. Meanwhile, several Tesla dealerships vandalized. Man apparently set himself on fire while he was trying to burn Tesla chargers in South Carolina. I saw right-wingers share out video of it, and I was going to play it for you guys tonight, but good thing I didn't have a source for it. I usually don't pre-watch Andy things. I watched it, and I'm like, this is from 2020. These motherfuckers. Trump had a call with President Volodymyr Zelensky today, following his call with President Vladimir Putin the other day. Shelly, Flash, good evening. Welcome in. It is a spectrum. You're exactly right, Holiday, but people don't like hearing that. Ah, fuck. I'm sorry I keep, like, toasting my mic with my bog. Here, let me cash this out. Let's get a fresh one packed. Also, I've been arguing with some dipshits over on Twitter. I just sent them a link to the show. It's seriously, Shelley, seriously. Or, like, I don't know how they're going to remove them. It requires 67 senators to remove a judge from the bench. That's never in the... Even if all the stupid fucking senators that joined with the Republicans to pass the CR join with them again, they can't fucking impeach the judge. So, there's no... But who knows? Who knows now? Here is your meme of the day. Elon apparently coming out with 9 books that he thinks everyone should read. Spoiler alert, it's just Mein Kampf 9 times. I loved after the inauguration and his Nazi salute controversy, he came out and was talking about him being autistic and blah, 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 blah. Somebody commented on Twitter, he should write a book and call it My Struggle. And I laughed my ass off. If you are going to partake upon some marijuana with me, now is the time. Get your accoutrements ready. Light one up, tip one back. Did anyone see that? And I've meant to do this story. I've had it saved. There's like a Tesla wins or something like that Twitter account. And it shared out this video where it's like, this Tesla saved the life of this family in a head-on collision. And if you watch the video, it's the Tesla causing the head-on collision. Drove right into another car. Just fucking wild. And like, that's what the level of propaganda we're at in this country. And none of these fucks have any critical thinking skills. And you can't reason them out of shit. Like, I had the dude arguing with me about like, oh, Joe Biden was found out to be the big guy. I was like, okay, what crime did he commit? And he's like, well, he was peddling influence. I was like, well, who was he peddling influence to? Crickets. Crickets. Why? Because you can't tell me. Because there is no proof. You dumb motherfuckers. I mean, I can give you examples of shady shit that Biden has done, but you don't care about that. Mr. Balls, good evening. If I tell you that Trump has committed a crime, I can specify the crime, how he did it, give you the details. If you're telling me that Joe Biden committed a crime, you should be able to tell me what crime he fucking committed. You stupid bitches. Oh, anyway. We're going to hear from the Minnesota GOP leader tonight, the Senate GOP leader, following the bombshell revelation yesterday that one of his caucus members was soliciting an underage girl for sex. Idaho senator faces protests. Florida Dems holding town halls in Republican districts. We got the release of the JFK files. A Texas midwife, one of several people charged in an abortion crackdown in Texas. Aurora police were involved in a shooting that left somebody dead. St. Charles police released body camera of a man with a chainsaw that they shot. We finally have an arrest in the death of a Super Bowl reporter. A music executive and LA gang leader has been arrested. We have video showing possibly the last moments of a missing college student's life in the Dominican Republic. The lead investigator in the Karen Reed trial was fired. We're going to find out why. Lori Vallow Daybell. There we go, Lori Bell. Lori Vallow Daybell. Apparently a member of a doomsday cult that ended up killing her kids. Had an outburst in court yesterday. A California family says a roller coaster killed their child. This. You guys are going to love this. A man has been arrested after shooting at a cop and a landlord. Motherfucker's a hero. A small plane crashed into a truck at an airport. A teacher taped a kid's mouth shut. We've got an investigation into apparent abuse of an autistic kid. Fishermen rescued some teens off the coast of Florida. Man bit another passenger on a flight. A Miami theater being shut down over a film controversy, and a director apparently fucked Netflix out of $11 million. All that and a lot friggin' more tonight on the Troll Patrol Live. Good evening, bitches. Does it sound too dark for you tonight, Mansoor? Does it sound too dark? I mean, we're starting off with the constitutional crisis that the United States is facing. Fuck Netflix, but clinically, did you hear the story a couple before that? A man was arrested after shooting at a cop and a landlord. Fucking hero. Too bad I believe he missed. Nine books Elon thinks everyone should read. It's just Mein Kampf 9 times. Let's get to it. Trump continuing his attack on a judge that ruled against him. As we really approach a real moment in this country.
Giving the Trump administration more time to provide critical information about deportation flights that took place this past weekend. U.S. District Judge James Boasberg is trying to determine whether the administration defied his order as he faced ongoing attacks from President Trump and his administration.
I don't know who the judge is, but he's radical left. He was Obama appointed. And he actually said we shouldn't be able to take criminals, killers, murderers, horrible, the worst people, gang members, gang leaders, that we shouldn't be allowed to take them out of our country.
Our White House correspondent, Laura Barone-Lopez, has been reporting on this and joins us now. So, Laura, Chief Justice John Roberts issued a rare statement, as you know, yesterday in response to President Trump, but it doesn't appear to have convinced the administration to stop its attacks on the federal courts.
No, as we heard there, the president was still attacking Judge Boasberg. And also today, President Trump started fundraising on the idea of impeaching Judge Boasberg, sending that out to his many supporters. And that also comes as Elon Musk, the special government employee, has repeatedly been posting on X that congressional Republicans should move forward with impeaching Judge Boasberg specifically. And just a quick fact check there on some of the things that the president has been claiming is that Boasberg was first appointed by George W. Bush and then later elevated to the federal bench by President Obama. And Boasberg has also made some favorable rulings.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get into that here in a second. She's mentioning appointed by George Bush. That's gonna come into play. Remember that. Thank you, Zendaya. T-minus, Carla, good evening.
Namely in 2017, blocking the release of President Trump's tax returns. And he was confirmed to the Senate 96-0.
And the judge gave the administration more time, but it appears his patience...
Seriously, Zendaya is everywhere. Hollywood is forcing her down our throats.
Is growing a little thin here with this warning that he's issued. What did he say?
So Judge Boasberg was clearly not happy with the administration's stonewalling of this information. He said in a statement today that the court seeks this information about the flights not as a micromanaged and necessary judicial fishing expedition, but to determine if the government deliberately flouted his order issued on March 15th, 2020.
Did you just ask me if Zendaya is beautiful? Monsieur Balls, where have you been? She's in she is in everything. She's like right behind Walton Goggins for like the most credits in a year.
25, and if so, what the consequences should be. So again, he's trying to figure out whether or not, when they moved forward with these deportation flights, if they essentially defied his order. Judge Boasberg also referenced Justice Roberts' statement saying that the Supreme Court has made crystal clear that if the Trump administration is not happy with his ultimate decision in this case, that the proper route is to appeal it.
So when the administration refuses to answer
Spider-Man's girlfriend,
what's their justification? What actual argument are they making in court?
So in a filing today, the Trump administration said that it may very well invoke what is known as the state secrets privilege, essentially refusing to disclose information about these deportation flights, saying that it because of the sensitive information about the operations. Now, that state secrets privilege is not often used, Jeff, and it's almost always used only.
He's in Dune too? God damn, he's in everything.
In a response today to the administration.
Like every movie is Zendaya, Tom Holland, and Timothy Chalamet now, isn't it? Like that's all Hollywood has.
Actually said, to date, the administration has not at all said that they consider this information classified. Also,
And Walton Goggins.
the White House
Carpe, good evening.
that Judge Boasberg is trying to stop the president from deporting criminals. That's just not true, Jeff, because the president has authority to deport criminals as he sees fit under current immigration law. Judge Boasberg is just simply trying to figure out whether or not the president's invocation of alien enemies is actually lawful.
Got it. And there's this separate case where the administration and Elon Musk's team were sued today for attempting to take control of the independent agency, the U.S. Institute for Peace. Where does all of that stand?
So the U.S. Institute for Peace was established by Congress 40 years ago, and it operates as this independent think tank that tries to.
I'm really amazed that Doge got a win on this one, seeing as like it seems that of all the agencies, this is the one that was most out of the executive branch's purview.
Prevent and resolve international conflicts. And so over the course of the last 4 days, Elon Musk and his team Doge have tried to take control of that entity, bringing FBI agents, bringing law enforcement to gain entry. And in a hearing today where Judge Beryl Howell was hearing a lawsuit brought by former employees, Judge Howell was pretty incredulous, saying to the government that it appeared as though Doge terrorized staff. She said that she was, quote, offended on behalf of the American citizens working at USIP. She felt as though they were treated abominably and because they were threatened with criminal investigations. But ultimately, Judge Howell denied the request by these employees for Doge to not be able to take control, essentially saying that she wasn't sure that the merits of the case.
The Institute for Peace has totally done a shit job.
Warranted a temporary block on Doge.
Laura Barone Lopez, our thanks to you as always.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zendaya. Fantastic job. She's a good reporter. She's relatively new, I believe. Stephen Miller asked about the judge's order and the Venezuelan migrants that were sent back. I'm not even going to call them gang members. Every passing day seems to uncover more information like possibly none of them were gang members. Well, Lord, good evening.
Criminal record here in the U.S. according to his deportation orders, and he had no criminal record in Venezuela either. So why do you think someone like that should be sent to a maximum security
I'm sorry, I'm
prison?
confused by the question. Is it your position?
I think you're confused by a lot of things, you dipshit. Is he just a low talker?
Who is in our United States illegally should be allowed to commit crimes limitlessly until such time as that individual is incarcerated, that it should be open season on Americans. The TDAs come in, it's like ISIS coming into your country or Al-Qaeda coming into your country. And that you let them stay here, catch and release, catch and release, catch and release, and then eventually, only after they've served some prison time in America do they get sent out. Our job is to send the terrorists out before anyone else gets raped or murdered. Other
I'm
questions?
not making
The
case
protest
that
outside the
he's a
White House
terrorist,
last
sir.
night featured Palestinian flags, but also I saw
Isn't that what RoboCop was about or something? Like fucking thinking who could, or deciding what people were thinking and arresting them before they could commit crime?
Hamas flags flying outside the White House. Does this administration believe that the flying of these flags could be a national security risk outside the White House?
Well, I'll reframe the question to just say that The administration continues to...
I can't believe we have to deal with this
any
dipshit.
foreign nationals who are visiting our country are prohibited from...
Minority Report, sorry.
...any designated terrorist organization, such as Hamas. Any other questions?
Is President Trump still calling for the impeachment of Judge Boasberg in this case, despite what Chief Justice Roberts said yesterday?
Of course the president stands by his comments, absolutely, as do we all, as does the entire administration. You cannot have a democracy where single individual district court judges can assume the full total powers of the commander-in-chief. Even on the Supreme Court, it takes the agreement of 5 Supreme Court justices to change a federal policy. 5. A single district court judge out of 700 cannot set policy for the entire nation, let alone on national security and public safety issues. The president's been clear that he has tremendous respect for Justice Roberts and believes it's essential the Supreme Court crack down and stop this assault on our democracy from these radical rogue judges that are usurping the powers of the presidency and laying waste to our entire constitution.
Usurping.
Can you explain more on the Democrats' terrorism issue of the Teslas being destroyed? Can you explain more on the issue of the Teslas?
Yeah, the president strongly condemns left-wing domestic terrorism in the clearest and most forceful terms we possibly can. Yes, good question.
Just quickly, 2 things. I think what she was trying to say was that, not arguing that there were TVA members on the plane, but there were other people. Is there going to be other evidence shown from the administration
they're all trained Air Agua? And again, let me
Quesadilla.
give you an example of this just to illustrate the principle here. Let's say that you have a family living in a neighborhood, and next to them, they have little children. Next to them is a trained Air Agua gang member who, as a document of the proclamation, are sent here by a hostile regime and is the most violent, ruthless, criminal terrorist organization in the Western Hemisphere. So,
Miller knows that.
Counterterrorism officers.
And Miller knows that their followers are goddamn stupid. That he can get away with saying this. And man, does it annoy the shit out of me.
Arrest and remove the terrorist? Or do we say, we'll leave you there, you can rape and murder the people next to you, and then after you rape and murder them, and then only then will we remove you? We're not going to let anyone get raped or let anyone get murdered by terrorists.
Samson, good evening. Welcome in. This is just insane. Jim Jordan, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, correct? Responds to President Trump's call to impeach a federal judge.
Good to be with you, Casey.
So just want to start with a simple question. Do you believe, as President Trump does, that Judge Boasberg should be impeached?
Well, normally, as Chief Justice Roberts has pointed out, the remedy for bad decisions is the appellate court. But it seems to me you may have something a little different here.
Why?
This judge's decision was so ridiculous, it seems to be political. And then when you add to it the history of Judge Boasberg, his work with the FISA court, back in the whole Trump-Russia baloney, that whole, fake collusion thing that they talked about, the Democrats talked about forever. And then, of course, his sentencing of Kevin Kleinsmith, the guy who lied to the FISA court, altered a document back during that same time frame.
I can't believe I am still hearing about this shit in the FISA court in 2015 and 2016. Oh my God. Oof.
Fake collusion thing that they talked about, the Democrats talked about forever. And then, of course, his sentencing of Kevin Kleinsmith, the guy who lied to the FISA court, altered a document back during that same time frame. I think you might have here a judge who's acting in a political fashion. That is a different question. And so for us Republicans, and I think folks on the Judiciary Committee, all options are still on the table. We're going to do some research. We're going to dig into this, and we're going to find out. And then I think when you really step back, Casey, and look at how stupid the decision was by this judge, I mean, he basically said, he did say, turn the plane around, bring back gang members, hardened criminals who've done all kinds of bad things, who are here illegally,
It's not a stupid decision because we don't know that those are gang members and you didn't have the legal right to deport them. Therefore, you need to bring the plane back and comply with U.S. law. Jesus.
The plane around and bring
Butter
bad
pickle.
guys back to the country. I think just on its face, this is ridiculous. And so it sure looks like the judge is acting in a political fashion.
I completely understand the argument that people are making about whether the planes whether these people should have been deported or not. I want to get a little bit more clarity on what you're saying. What specifically has Judge Boasberg done that you believe is an impeachable offense under the constitutional description of high crimes and misdemeanors?
All I'm saying is if you're acting in a political fashion and not just, following the law, ruling on the law, and I would argue that, frankly, just his ruling in and of itself, remember, the Constitution is pretty clear. Article 2, Section 1, very first sentence.
The Constitution is pretty clear that the judiciary decides what is legal, what is constitutional, and they check Congress and the presidency and make sure that their actions follow the law. You dumbass.
It says, power in the executive branch shall be vested in a president of the United States. The president has the authority here. Second, he followed the statute.
Isn't there a major body of law that shows that he would probably be likely to win?
Predatory incursion, and that he followed the statute. And then third, the president told the country he was going to do this. It's not like it's a surprise to anyone, let alone this judge. He campaigned on it and said he was going to do it. So I think when you put all that together, that's what makes this decision look so political on the part of Judge Boasberg.
Joe Biden campaigned on
and we actually
student loan forgiveness.
The president said exactly that he would use this law when he was on the campaign trail. We showed our viewers some of that yesterday. So I do take that point. But given all these arguments, if you think that this is, and there is an enormous body of law out there, some of it built during the Bush administration, which I know, you were here in Washington during a lot of this, that suggests that the president actually might win this case on the merits in the longer term under the normal process. So if you're the White House, why not put that appeal through? Why not use the process that's available to you right then?
Well, there in fact may be an appeal process. I know we got all kinds of cases. I think 15 different cases now where there have been some federal district judge who's done some kind of injunction, ruled against President Trump in just 8 weeks of him being in office.
That's their job, literally their job.
The appellate process, that may in fact happen in this particular case too.
Sure.
All I'm saying is this judge looks different than some of the other things we have seen. And the pace that were 15, I think in the Biden administration, it was like 13 in the entire 4 years. There have been 15 of these in 8 weeks. So again, that's a concern. It's why 2 weeks ago, the Judiciary Committee, we passed legislation which said when a federal district judge in Timbuktu, California issues an injunction, it should only apply to the parties of the case in that respective jurisdiction, not apply nationwide in some of these other cases that we're dealing with. We think that's good. We passed it through the committee. We'll try to look to pass it on the House floor and move it through the process.
Sir, let me ask you about something you said partway through your first answer, which is this question. You are in charge of the House Judiciary Committee. Do you plan to hold hearings that may look at the impeachment of Judge Boasberg or other federal judges?
We're gonna hold hearings on this entire issue. The 15 injunctions that have been done in an 8-week time frame, Judge Boasberg decision. We plan on holding hearings, hearing from experts, talking about this whole kind of body of law, this whole situation. Again, everything is on the table. We're considering all options. That's why we passed legislation. There may be another legislative remedy we want to look at. But we do think it's important for us to gather information.
Are you going to pass a law that says the judge has to rule the way you want them to?
Ruling out
next week, having a hearing in one of our subcommittees. We're not ruling out anything. I never do that.
Do you think it'd be politically risky to hold impeachment hearings for judges?
I do not think I like this reporter.
Majority?
Look, I'm not saying we're going to go there. All I'm saying is I think this is a concern. Judge Boasberg has raised concerns with us, Republicans on the Judiciary Committee, Republicans in general, over the years. When you go back and look at the whole FISA situation, remember what happened there, where the Comey FBI...
If you want to talk about, and once again, he's going back to 2015, 2016. If you want to talk about shit that happened in the past, let's talk about how you covered up sexual assault at Ohio State University. How about that, Jim?
Took a dossier that was paid for by the Clinton campaign, hiring the law firm Perkins Coie, who hired Fusion GPS, who hired a foreigner, Christopher Steele, who wrote this bogus document full of all kinds of falsehoods.
He was very flippant with him there.
That document to the FISA court, and they got warrants to go spy on the other party's presidential campaign. And
he's the chair of the Judiciary Committee.
And then one of the guys who lied to the court, Kevin Kleinsmith, got a slap on the wrist for actually altering a document in front of that secret court. And now he comes out with this decision, and we're not supposed to.
Slap on the wrist. What he means is like the judge found that it was a real nothing burger. He said that he altered the email in order to save himself some time. And the judge was like, yeah, it fundamentally doesn't change the case at all. That's what this motherfucker is making a huge deal about. When he said, because that's the only person that was ever put on trial for the supposed investigation into Russiagate and the FISA illegal wiretaps, as they like to call them. The judge ruled no. The wiretaps were fine. The surveillance were fine. The one thing they could find was this one agent lied in an email. He changed something in an email, and the judge stated it in the court documents that it fundamentally did not change anything, that all of the wiretap surveillance were legal. He's saying something that's fundamentally not true. From 10 years ago.
Supposed to look at that? Of course we're going to look at that. You'd be crazy not to. So we're going to look at that, but all options are on the table, legislative and anything else, and that is the approach we're taking as we begin to hear from experts in hearings we plan to have over the next several weeks.
Have you spoken with President Trump about this?
I've not. I mean, I talk to him on a very regular basis, but I've not spoken to him about this particular issue. Maybe it'll come up. I'm going to see him later this week.
Okay, good to know. Do you think that part of why he called for the impeachment of this particular judge is personal, is to do with what you just outlined?
I don't know. I think it's probably because President Trump is doing exactly what he told the voters he was going to do. And you got a judge who says, turn the plane around, bring the bad guys back to America. Maybe the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And frankly, when the American people hear this, they're like, what is this judge doing? The president runs the executive branch. He's the one who put his name on a ballot, got elected. He's entitled to make these kind of decisions and not have some judge jump into the executive branch function and say that he can't do it. And
yes, this is literally what the judges do.
Are really bad guys who did really bad things and aren't citizens of this country. That's the bottom line. So when you got a judge who does this, it makes you wonder, is this judge operating in a political fashion? And then when you look at the history of this guy, you say, sure looks like he is.
All right. Congressman, Mr. Chairman, I want to ask you about something else a little bit closer.
Critter, welcome in. Well, here's the thing. When he says, when you look at his history, that's what it is. The White House is trying to push this line that he was appointed by Obama. They said it in a press conference earlier today, but watch what happens here.
I have one other question, but I want to follow up on Katie's question, actually. You said the mass deportation campaign would continue, but she asked about the flights specifically. Will those flights to El Salvador continue while this case is being appealed?
We don't have any flights planned specifically, but we will continue with the mass deportations. And I would just like to point out that the judge in this case is essentially trying to say that the president doesn't have the executive authority to deport foreign terrorists from our American soil. That is an egregious abuse of...
No, this is an egregious abuse. This is scary as shit. And they are going to start deporting American citizens. They're going to start deporting trans people. They're going to start deporting the LGBTQ community. They're going to deport anybody that's got a darker skin tone. They're going to deport anyone who's speaking out against them. It's coming.
The bench. This judge does not have that authority. It is the opinion of this White House and of this administration, and that's why we're fighting this in court. And it's very, very clear that this is an activist judge who is trying to usurp the president's authority. Under the Alien Enemies Act, the president has...
Repeat a lie enough times.
The deportation campaign has continued. And this judge, Judge Boasberg, is a Democrat activist. He was appointed by Barack Obama. His wife has donated more than $10,000 to Democrats, and he has consistently shown his disdain for this president and his policies, and it's unacceptable.
You're right where I wanted to go about the idea that these people are all foreign terrorists, but Judge Boasberg was originally appointed by George W. Bush and then elevated by Barack Obama. I just feel like I should clear that up.
Well, let me just say...
Male Rights USA, I'm not being dramatic. Welcome in, my friend. But I'm not being dramatic because the executive branch is skirting the power of the judiciary to make sure they're following the law. If you've read a history book, this is what all fascist regimes do. I am pro-Constitution. If you think I'm being dramatic, you're against the Constitution, so... You can't just go around calling people terrorists. We have proof that at least 3 of the people on that flight were indeed not terrorists. And that's why you have to have judicial review. That's why there is due process. You can't just put people on planes and send them out of the fucking country. That's fascist. If you don't realize that, you're a dumb fuck. I say it all the time, but that's why. Like, they are depending on dipshits like you not knowing the law, not knowing the Constitution, and not caring enough to be educated on it. They are depending on you. That's why they can get away with this shit. It's disgusting, and it's your fucking fault. It's every single one of the citizens of this country that isn't educated enough to know what the fuck is happening. Running to simply make America great again. That's what fascists do. They make appeals to symbols and ideals that are unattainable. Make America great again. What does that even fucking mean, you dipshit? Make America great again means he gets to do things extrajudiciously? That's not making America great again. That's installing a dictator. You're a fucking moron if you're for that. I, on the other hand, I like to kick authority in the balls.
He's kicking authority in the balls.
Galaxy, good evening. Quesadilla, my friend, welcome in. I feel like somebody else snuck in here on me. Lenny, my friend. So glad to see you. Even Rush Limbaugh knew it with his fucking dying breath.
As a conservative, it's getting harder and harder to not look like a kook.
You've lost Rush Limbaugh. Gutfeld last night took to the airwaves to spread his propaganda to dipshits like the right-wing cuck in the channel. John Roberts, the Supreme Court Justice of the United States, came out and was like, no, there's a process for this. That was an unprecedented statement by a Supreme Court Justice. A right-wing justice.
Our chief legal analyst, Greg Gutfeld.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm glad you asked me that question. Look, John Roberts says it's not appropriate. It's not an appropriate response to when you disagree with a judge. And it is really a surprise to me that Trump doesn't follow the appropriate protocol when there are rapists and murderers.
The law. You want to talk about rapists? Trump is a rapist. Wild.
Our country. Maybe a guy in a robe in D.C. can follow all the protocols, but Trump is the effing president of the United States who protects 300 million plus people. He is a leader who does not have the luxury of opening up his little books to read, oh my God, maybe he didn't do it the right way. Roberts, shut the F up. This is something that a president has to do. He has to.
No, I'm going to call you names for being a dumb fuck. Call in, motherfucker. Call in, have a discussion with me. 917-830-4359. Run your cocksucker. I dare you. Tell us about how you love gargling Trump's cock. Trump derangement syndrome is what you suffer from. That you're just letting an asshole grifter shit all over the Constitution because you're dumb. You suffer from Trump derangement syndrome. That's why you are a dipshit. I mean, I don't know what other proof I have to give you. The motherfucker is not following the Constitution. I'm for the Constitution. Why are you against the Constitution? Tell me, you little bitch. Call in and tell me why you're against the Constitution. I want to see some Molotov trolls. A James Island man is facing federal charges for burning a Tesla charger station in North Charleston, South Carolina. Daniel Clark Pounder, 24, was arrested on Thursday in connection with the incident. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office in the District of South Carolina, North Charleston officials responded on March 7th to a Tesla charging station on Tanger Outlet Boulevard around 7:15. When they arrived, witnesses explained a white man in a gray jacket and hoodie with a black face mask spray-painted "Fuck Trump, Long Live Ukraine" in red next to the Tesla charging station near the area. Authorities said the man then threw Molotov cocktails made out of beer bottles at the charging stations, damaging them before leaving the scene. Witnesses advised that the suspect had accidentally caught their own back on fire while throwing the devices. If you're gonna Molotov a Tesla, God damn it. If you're gonna Molotov a Tesla charging station, be careful not to set yourself on fire, please. Hold on a second. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN.
All we're establishing is this guy's wicked, sick aesthetic.
Not high enough for this shit.
I guess I gotta thank Matt Walsh for introducing me to JustinFREAKIN.
Hey there, y'all. We're about to get stupid, locked into what that news be doing. Fu Manchu and a slick bandana, colder than ice, smoother than Santana. Audio, video, chat and calls. Right-wing nut jobs haunt the halls. What you wanna watch? Hey, what you think? And there's only one choice. It's JustinFREAKIN.
The guy's, he's a formidable voice in the call.
Light one up and tip one back. It's a right to be high. Let's grab a snack. It's fucking news, quit panic, attack, and play your cards right and get a titty slap. Jump in Discords, have some fun. The man will talk to everyone. Get high and try to debate. When shit pops off, chat thinks it's great. What do you think you're doing? Join the troll patrol. Wherever discourse is brewing, he gives it that southern drawl.
So let's go ahead and bring in Justin. Hey Justin, how's it going, brother?
First of all, I want to say you're poser South. I'm in Alabama. I'm the real South.
Okay, all right. So why don't you tell us what it takes to be a man?
Well, I don't know. I'm in Alabama and I'll fuck a man in a dress. Why won't you fuck a man in a dress? Are you that insecure that you won't fuck a man in a dress?
That's fantastic. So you're okay with that, right?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I?
Right-wingers are morons.
Light one hit and hit one back. One more click before we hit the set. Set an alert when that shit goes live. Social fucking support and hit subscribe. Light one up and take a hit. He does no harm, but he takes no shit. He's the last one standing when the ship is sinking. Let's take another rip for JustinFREAKIN.
Light one up, tip one back. I'm JustinFREAKIN.
Not high enough for this shit.
I had like the god-awfulest noise going on in there, and I'm like, what's going on? I go in there, and there's Maynard in one of my kitchen cabinets knocking shit over. I thought maybe somebody was at the door. Apparently the dude upstairs orders a lot of shit. There's constantly like delivery drivers, and they'll drop shit off. I don't know why, like, there's mailboxes in between the two doors, so I don't know why they don't just sit shit in the mailbox area. I don't know why they feel the need to knock on my door. Just sit it there. Meow stuff. That's what it was. It was Maynard. I should have known. I mean, like, I'm a cat guy. I mean, used to cat noises going all the time, but that was a new one because it sounded like knocking and shit. But it was him like it was him pawing it's a pretty heavy, like, thick wood cabinet, and he was like pawing it, and that's what the knocking noise was. But you heard the lady, light one up, tip one back. Don't light yourself on fire if you're trying to Molotov a Tesla charging station. A woman was accused of vandalizing a Tesla dealership. I believe this happened in Chicago. This is Buffalo Grove in Illinois.
A Buffalo Grove woman faces charges accused of vandalizing Tesla dealership in the suburbs. This all comes as protests are happening.
It kind of looks like an R and not an A, so Tesla. Can we just start calling it that now? It's Tesla.
The Chicago area.
Michael, good evening.
The world. All of this tumult apparently in response to Tesla CEO Elon Musk and his role in President Donald Trump's administration. Lexi Suter reports.
This was a scene outside Tesla's Gold Coast location Saturday. Hundreds of people marched along Rush Street, including Joe Allen, to protest Tesla CEO Elon Musk and his newfound political power.
This is the global response to Elon.
We've got a story about a man with a chainsaw getting shot by the cops later in the show. If only it was this man with a chainsaw.
And his newfound political power.
This is the global response to Elon Musk and what he's doing in American politics and what he's doing in
damn right, quesadilla
around the world. Which,
if the media is going to insist on Gulf of America, they better say Tesla. From now on, I dub it Tesla.
Is opposed by many people.
From Palo Alto to Boston and even Dublin, Ireland. Thousands are a part of this movement known as the Tesla Takedown.
It brings people from all walks of life.
Tesla Takedown.
To what is happening to the direction of the country right now.
While the protesting continues, some drivers say they're in the middle of a political fight they have no part in. We know at least several Teslas have been damaged in Chicago, and one dealership in the suburbs was vandalized.
One of them got vandalized where they wrote something on the side about Elon, and then another one got rammed while it was just parked. He came back and saw the video, and he got rammed intentionally.
Eddie Zipperstein owns Richard's Body Shop and a Tesla. He says he's faced aggression from strangers.
If I drive a Cybertruck just the other day, I'm just turning onto a street to go pull up to a restaurant. Someone comes off the sidewalk, walks into blocking the truck, and starts giving me the finger.
Maybe it wasn't just Maynard. Maybe the neighbor's doing some construction.
I don't think anyone's political views are their vehicle they drive. Just because they drive something, that doesn't mean that's their political view.
Allen says he does not condone the damage to vehicles, and his group is protesting peacefully.
We're not in favor of anything like that. I'm not.
Ponder Muggy.
Anything like that, because first of all, you shouldn't assume, Tesla owners agree with Elon Musk.
So far, no comment from Tesla today. Lexi Suter, NBC5 News.
Thank you, Lexi.
Twitch logo. Do you have a Twitch logo in the corner? That one's news to me. Looks fresh and clean. Or are you just talking about with the, like, how they're next to... I have no idea what you're talking about, Holiday. Was it in the story, or are you talking... Is this a joke that's going over my head? I'm so confused. Twitch has become sentient. Is it like, here, hold on. Let me go look at my stream. Looks normal here. Hmm? Yeah, I'm really confused. Thank you, Holiday, for pinning that in the chat. I appreciate that. That's good shit. And all the people evading. They don't play ads on me anymore because I'm politics, right? When you guys, anybody that was unsubbed, do you guys get ads when I'm in the political category? I didn't think so. That's why I've been sure to be in the political category for the Troll Patrol. Oh. Yeah, it was normally, that's usually just a Twitch logo. Oh, you're not saying on my video, you're saying in the browser. Why is it upset? Why is Twitch angry? Huh. You're not getting ads anonymously? Didn't you get a gift sub last night? But like before that? Elon apparently went on Hannity saying he's scared for his wife.
Put ablaze in one of your dealerships in Vegas. I've seen this happen all over the country. Bullets are being fired. Charging stations are put ablaze. Teslas are being put ablaze. You have experienced assassination, threats of assassination for you and your family. What have you done?
Well, I mean, that's why I don't take ad breaks anymore, right? Like, if I need to pee or something, I'll play the song. But like, I was taking ad breaks so people didn't miss any of the show. But now they don't play ads on me, so I don't worry about it anymore. Because I don't want anybody to miss any content. Like, when we're just digging around watching police chases, I'll be in just chatting, and I think they play ads then. So those of you that are sub, it's like an extra thing. But like for the Troll Patrol, no ads. I want the show to go to everybody. I don't want anybody to be turned off by fucking ads.
In one of your dealerships in Vegas.
I think assassination applies to like any kind of figure, any kind of public figure.
I've seen this happen all over the country. Bullets,
no ads, no pee.
Charging stations are put ablaze. Teslas are being put ablaze. You have experienced assassination, threats of assassination for you and your family. What have you done that warrants this? Because I see nothing that you have done except help our country.
Yeah, I mean, it's really come as quite a shock to me that there's this level of really hatred and violence from the left. I always thought the left, or Democrats, were supposed to be the party of empathy, the party of caring, and yet they're burning down cars, they're firebombing dealerships, they're firing bullets into dealerships, they're just, smashing up Teslas. Tesla is a peaceful company. We've never done anything awful. I've never done anything awful. I've only done productive things. So
that's not true. That's not true at all. You've done all kinds of awful shit. You horrible, horrible man.
So I think we just have a deranged. There's some kind of mental illness thing going on.
You're deranged.
Doesn't make any sense.
Wow. He called a man that was gonna rescue those kids trapped in a cave a pedo. That's just like one of the worst things he's done off the top of it. I mean, that's not even the worst thing he's done. Fucking the way he treats his workers. There's been numerous reports of unsafe working conditions, robots injuring people inside the Tesla's factory, inside SpaceX. He survives off of government money. This is the biggest government suck that we have. This guy right here. He lives on the teat of the government. He's a union-busting jackass, and he's a white supremacist that supports Nazis to try to keep himself in power. He bought the election to shut down the multiple investigations that were going on into him through numerous organizations. That's what all this cutting is about. He's going in and slashing organizations that were investigating him. Starlink is a piece of shit. He keeps doing this shit. I know this for a fact. Like when Appalachia was hit by the flooding after Helene, or whatever the one was. It wasn't Helene, it was the next hurricane. Or maybe it was Helene. I don't remember now. There's been so many of them. But the flood that devastated western North Carolina and East Tennessee, he wanted to send these stupid Starlinks. He's like, oh, I'm sending them free, but you had to still pay for the equipment. It was like $200 and something. You had to wait for it to get there, and it was up to 2 weeks. And we're talking about an area that had just been devastated with flooding, with people that could, like, it's a satellite, so it's like it's great PR for him. Oh, they can use the satellite to access the internet in places where the phone's still down. But you have to get it to them because you had to wait. You had to get it mailed to you. You had to pay to activate it. You only get like a month free. Yeah, you had to sign a contract for it. It was a scam. And just getting them to people would have been hard because, like, I thought it was something where you could just get on it with your cell phone. So I told Curiouser to look into it, and like she's like, no. I looked into it, and it was horrible. Question marks. Good evening. So it was just total PR. That's all he is. PR. This is the PR administration. I've said it numerous times. The Trump administration deported less people in their first month than Joe Biden deported on an average month. Joe Biden was actually deporting people who had been convicted of crimes, at least, doing exactly what they say within the law. But Trump came in and did PR with Dr. Phil, so everybody thinks he's deporting all these bad guys. It's insane. Black is white, up is down, cats and dogs are living in harmony. God damn.
Ukraine. I do have a statement for you from the National Security Advisor and also the Secretary of State. First, I'd like to reiterate what the President said earlier following his call with President Zelensky this morning. He said he just completed a very good telephone call with President Zelensky. It lasted approximately 1 hour. Much of the discussion was based on the call made yesterday with President Putin in order to align both Russia and Ukraine in terms of their requests and needs. We are very much on track, and I will ask Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Mike Waltz to give an accurate description of the points discussed. That statement will be put out shortly. Well, I have that statement for you right here. Bear with me as I read it. Today, President Trump and Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky had a fantastic phone conversation. President Zelensky thanked President Trump for a productive start for the work of the Ukrainian and American teams in Jeddah on March 11th. The meeting of the senior...
But also, you just saw a fantastic example of the Overton window, where I protested Obama's mass deportation program, but then, like, I'm longing for it now under a Trump administration because I'm like, at least it had due process and did a much better job of getting rid of actual criminals. God damn. And the Overton window shifts more to the right.
Officials from both nations significantly helped in moving toward ending the war. President Zelensky thanked President Trump for the support of the United States.
She kind of looks like a bird.
Missiles that President Trump was first to provide and his efforts towards peace. The leaders agreed Ukraine and America will continue working together to bring about a real end to the war, and that lasting peace under President Trump's leadership can be achieved. President Trump fully briefed President Zelensky on his conversation with Putin and the key issues discussed. They reviewed the situation in Kursk and agreed to share information closely between their defense staffs as the battlefield situation evolved. President Zelensky asked for additional air defense systems to protect his civilians, particularly Patriot missile systems, and President Trump agreed to work with him to find what was available, particularly in Europe. The two leaders also agreed on a partial ceasefire against energy. Technical teams will meet in Saudi Arabia in the coming days to discuss broadening the ceasefire to the Black Sea on the way to a full ceasefire. They agreed this could be the first step toward the full end of the war and ensuring security. President Zelensky was grateful for the president's leadership in this effort and reiterated his willingness to adopt.
Mox, good evening.
President Trump also discussed Ukraine's
Probably true words. Everyone's out of Patriots.
He said that the United States could be very helpful in running those plants with its electricity and utility expertise. American ownership of those plants would be the best protection for that infrastructure and support for Ukrainian energy infrastructure. President Zelensky also thanked President Trump for continuing to push humanitarian concerns, including the exchange of prisoners of war. He noted they had just had a successful exchange and thanked the president for his leadership on that. President Trump also asked President Zelensky about the children who had gone missing from Ukraine during the war, including the ones that had been abducted. And President Trump promised to work closely with both parties to help make sure those children were returned home. They agreed all parties must continue the effort to make a ceasefire work. The presidents noted the positive work of their advisors and representatives, especially Secretary Rubio, National Security.
My bad.
Advisor
That was not
Envoy
a
Kellogg,
call
and
coming in,
others.
unfortunately.
The presidents instructed their teams to move ahead with the technical issues related to implementing and broadening the partial ceasefire. The presidents instructed their advisors and representatives to carry out this work as quickly as possible. The presidents emphasized that in further meetings, the teams can agree on all necessary aspects of advancing toward lasting peace and security.
Bunch of bullshit. Speaking of bullshit, veterans are upset about data being deleted from a website. Army temporarily takes down decorated military unit from its website.
If you're going to rewrite something, that's fine. Just put it back in the same spot.
Local veterans are wondering why a webpage highlighting the most decorated military unit in the country was removed from the U.S. Army's website for weeks. It has since been republished, but as Brady Wakayama from our sister station in Seattle reports, some say this shouldn't have happened in the first place.
We're here at the Nisei Veterans Committee Memorial Hall found in Seattle's Little Saigon neighborhood. It recognizes some of the greatest heroes in American military history, including the legacy of the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, a unit this nonprofit hopes will be honored and preserved forever.
These guys were heroes. It's an American story.
It's a story U.S. Army officials temporarily removed.
Well, that kind of raised a big red flag for many of us.
Dale Watanabe is the commander of the Nisei Veterans Committee. Over the weekend, he received a slew of emails and calls from local veterans who told him the webpage highlighting the 442nd was removed from the Army website. The 442nd is known as the most decorated military unit for its size and length of service, primarily comprised of Japanese Americans during World War II.
This is not a DEI issue.
Army officials say the webpage was actually removed last month and was republished on Saturday. They sent King 5 a statement saying in part it's working through content on that site and articles related to the 42nd Infantry Regiment and Nisei soldiers will be republished to better align with current guidance.
Is what's going to get taken away, what's going to be whitewashed, what's going to be
see who cancels who.
Deleted.
Concerns Michael Yaguchi, who served in the U.S. Air Force for 27 years, has as well.
Why would you want to remove this sliver of the greatest generation from that discussion?
He had 5 uncles who served in the 442nd, all of whom were held in incarceration camps and seen by some at the time as aliens.
I'm telling this story to current generations and future. That's all interrupted.
It's an interruption from the federal government Yaguchi believes could rewrite a story of true patriotism and perseverance.
What those soldiers did during World War II counted.
In Seattle, Brady Wakayama, King 5 News.
Now, Mox, play nice in the chat. Old Ben Measles over there does a good job. They got in contact with me one time. Now, I didn't contact them. They contacted me. Not JustinFREAKIN. They contacted Justin and his video production service. And they were like, we'd like you to do a tryout. I was like, oh, shit, yeah. Never heard back from them. Globus, good evening. I was kind of bummed out. I even told him, I was like, I consume your content. I already follow you on YouTube and everything, so cool. Never heard back from him. I don't know if I told you guys this, but I actually, I did have an edit test for Taylor Lorenz and her podcast. I thought it was real. I thought I did a really good job. It was the first time I'd ever heard what Jubilee was. You guys want to see it? Do I still have it? This is probably back in August, September, something like that. It's been a little bit. I'm not seeing it. Video sample. I think that's later. Yeah, I don't see it. Would have been around this time. Oh, here it is. I was like, it would have been here, I swear. Because I only did the one cut of it. I've got videos that have 20 different cuts. So this was she just gave me video and her logos and shit and was like, here, edit it.
In the aftermath of the presidential election, I just felt like the country was more divided than ever. And I felt like there was just this huge white space in the center for young people, which was about empathy, about dialogue, about nuance.
If you've spent any time on the internet recently, you've probably come across content from Jubilee Media.
Her fucking hair was annoying me. I was like, God damn it, why don't you fucking brush your hair before you get on stream? What? Before you film. The hell are you doing, Taylor?
Jubilee is a YouTube behemoth that's amassed 9.2 million subscribers by producing social experiments and debates on things like whether being fat is a choice, whether you can stop being gay, whether minors deserve gender-affirming care, whether men are superior to women in a conversation framed alphas versus...
Whether men are superior to women, that also, annoyed the shit out of me. I tried to go in and make it sound like she said women, and I couldn't fucking do it. I couldn't get a good in to put in there to replace, and I tried. That might have been that might have been part of the test. Maybe they wanted me to fix her hair. Maybe this was on purpose. Maybe they wanted me to change woman to women. And maybe that's why I didn't succeed.
YouTube behemoth that's amassed 9.2 million subscribers.
But I mean, to go fix her hair, that's 10, 15 hours of work. That's goddamn for just a minute 30.
Jubilee is a YouTube behemoth that's amassed 9.2 million subscribers by producing social experiments and debates on things like whether being fat is a choice, whether you can stop being gay, whether minors deserve gender-affirming care, whether men are superior to women in a conversation framed alphas versus betas.
I think that if a woman cannot look up to you in some way, then she cannot respect you. And if she cannot respect you, she cannot love you.
I totally disagree. I totally agree. Totally disagree.
Videos like one cop versus 20 criminals or one woke teen versus 20 Trump supporters have found a second life on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, where clips have amassed tens of millions of views.
So throughout my career, you're telling me that every
See, I
black
thought that transition was sweet on my part.
in contact with,
I don't know.
treated them
I
unfairly.
don't know who you came in contact with, but most of y'all do. I don't like none of y'all, to keep it honest.
Guys,
are so absurd. They've
chill in the chat. Mox, stop attacking people.
So successful, it's birthed an entire genre.
God damn.
Cats. The company's stated goal is to spark conversations that matter and come together around our shared humanity. But is their model working, and how is Jubilee Media expanding its empire outside
Why did I not get the job?
Break it all down is Jason Y. Lee, the founder of Jubilee Media.
And I went like, that's me. I went and found his fucking headshot online, cut him out, put him on this background and shit. Because that's the way her other videos were. Like I had to go like watch all this Jubilee shit. I think I edited it together well. I love that dude. Like,
Totally disagree.
I totally agree.
Totally disagree.
Videos like one cop.
I thought I did a great job, but I didn't get that. I wonder if she wanted me to take that hair out and fix her saying woman. Well, I mean, she gave me the elements, but like, it was just straight up video. I put the phone in. I had to add all the Jubilee shit. That transition, stuff like that. That's all me. Like that's a phone that's in my production library. I had to go find, like, I had to get on my phone and take that screenshot. I remember it being fucking stupid because like TikTok did not cooperate with me. I like, guys, when it comes to shit like Russia and Ukraine, now, all of us are kind of talking out our ass, right? When it's the economy, we're all kind of talking out our ass. So be a little bit gentle with each other, please, Mox. Globus, good evening. Please. It's okay to have opinions, but don't go attacking people in chat. We're all friends here. We're all cool. We're all lighting one up, tipping one back, and we're all learning together. Vermont, glad to have you here, but I don't allow links. Like I've put together a show. Like I have a whole set of notes, you know, and they all kind of flow together, and we learn what that news be doing today. So like I don't really go off on. Sometimes I do. Sometimes we get some tangents. Wait, who called Globus a fossil? What? I'm trying to like moderate a fight in the chat. Warlord's here. He's gonna stir the pot even more. I love all of you. Sam did rock Jubilee. I watched it like the moment it came out. I was supposed to be doing something else. Warlord, you just missed Elon. We just finished the Elon section. Who's trying to hurt your Globus? I love you. Somebody shout Globus out if you haven't already. I don't know who's trying to hurt you in my chat. I'll start cracking knuckles. Is it Mox? Why are you being a troublemaker, Mox? What in the hell? Wait, it's balls. What in the fuck? We've got... Don't make Justin pull this stream over. We got beefs going on in the chat. Everybody, calm the fuck down. Let's pack a bowl, light one up, tip one back. I'm sorry, Mom. Well, now come on. It's like that episode of The Simpsons where Marge is like, Bart! And it was Lisa. And she's like, sorry, force a habit. Also, to anybody that gets called out by Mox, Mox calls me out too. So it's all good. He doesn't let me get away with shit. When I make an assertion, Mox makes me prove it. And I appreciate that. Keeps me honest. Chucky Boy Schumer, I don't think is going to be in power very much longer. Because when you've lost Jamie Harrison, I think it's time for him to go. I think Chucky Boy is indeed getting ousted. Holy shit.
What Pelosi said was, I myself don't give away anything for nothing. Is that what Senator Schumer and the Democrats who voted with the Republicans?
This is feeling a lot like when they took Biden out.
Well, listen, Major, before I was DNC chair, I was the floor director for the House Democrats, and I ran the whip operation for House Majority Whip Jim Clyburn. So I cut my teeth on politics, learning at the knee of Nancy Pelosi and Jim Clyburn. And that is...
I wouldn't brag about that.
The truth there as it relates to what you do when you're negotiating legislation. If Republicans who control the House, the Senate, and the White House, if they need Democratic votes in order to pass legislation, then there has to be Democratic seats at the table to negotiate what those bills look like. And there were no Democrats at the table in the House or the Senate. And so if we're not going to get a seat, you don't need our votes, then pass the legislation, move it forward. But Democrats have to stand up for their constituents and the priorities that they...
And to be fair, it is the Troll Patrol, so if you get trolled, just kind of go with it, guys.
Were sent to Washington, D.C. to defend. That's to make sure Social Security, Medicare, and all of these government programs that are necessary for the
Thistle Girl, welcome back.
You talked about understanding the situation on the floor of the House of Representatives. It appears that Senate Democrats, led by Charles Schumer, assumed incorrectly that
Charles in charge
would not pass the budget bill, the continuing resolution to avert the government shutdown. And when they did, they effectively were strategically flat-footed.
Well, Major, the thing that I say here is, again, ultimately, Republicans control the Senate and the House. And so if they know they want it to be in the majority, they want it to control the government, well, there are responsibilities for doing so. And if you don't have all the votes yourself in order to get the legislation done, then that means you got to build a coalition in order to do that. And, for Democrats, we got to let Republicans, if they can't do it, let them own all of this mess that they have created. For the last few months, since Donald Trump became president, there's been an unconstitutional attack on the federal government in this country. And that means that the American people have been suffering. We're hearing that the Department of Education that they're trying to gut. We know USAID they have gutted.
Apparently we're getting an executive order tomorrow on the DOE.
We see the attacks on veterans right now. They're turning their backs on veterans who have done so much for the American people. And so we got to let the Republicans, we should not have any responsibility of this chaos that has been created by Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and congressional Republicans.
Jamie, Bernie Sanders said that it was an absolute failure of Democratic leadership in the Senate. Senator Adam Schiff, California, said a bad day for the country. Can Chuck Schumer survive this? Should he?
Well, Leader Schumer and the Senate Democrats are going to have to make that determination. But, I disagreed with the strategy here. I just don't think that is where we needed to go right now.
I don't know who steps into his place.
Democrats can
who's number 2 in the Senate.
They see what is going on. Veterans are looking for people to fight for them. Our kids with
it's what's her name, isn't it?
Special needs, or those families are looking at what's happening at the Department of Education, and they want somebody to fight for them. Democrats have historically did that. We have to continue to do that. And this was one of those opportunities to stand up and fight for the American people, the people who desperately need us right now, as Donald Trump and Elon Musk and congressional Republicans are attacking the things that they have relied upon for decades, for generations.
Amid the Schumer backlash, let's talk about who might be in line to lead the Democrats. Ugh. I was hoping it was talking about the Senate, but apparently we're just talking about a leader for the Democrats in general, because they are throwing in Pritzker. Petey Boy has ruled out a run for the Senate in Michigan. That was on the table. You know, Big Boy Gavin's going to be running for president. I think Walz is also eyeing that 2028 run if we have a election in 2028. Never been more clear that the Democratic Party, both activist and rank-and-file wings alike, is spoiling for a fight. The broad feistiness within the party exploded last week after Chuck Schumer helped Republicans pass a negatively partisan spending plan over the objection of the majority of his fellow Democratic senators. The latest polls confirm this is a crisis moment for Democrats. The brand is at an all-time low. Just 29% of Americans have a positive view of the party, a 20-point swing from January of 2021. But right-wingers always ignore that, you know, a good portion of that is people like us being upset with the Democrats from the left. But what's most revealing is what the party faithful want to see out of its leaders. A whopping 57% of Democrats say their party needs to mainly work to block Republicans' agenda, a shift from 23% of the same segment who wanted opposition to be the central goal during the first year of Trump's term. To be clear, this is not 2017, and the current fight is taking on an entirely different shade of contempt. The resistance may not be showing up like it did for Trump's first term. That does not mean a more muscular opposition lacks a constituency. It's weird they're saying they're not showing up as we're actually seeing people fucking firebomb Teslas. There's no reason to think that this gives them hell sentiment as temporary. Those CNN numbers are from a poll taken in the days before almost a dozen Senate Democrats, led by Schumer, helped Republicans avoid a government shutdown. The boiling debate over that fracturing vote is now driving the conversation over how Democrats should move forward. The party's leading voices, many of them hopefuls in the 2028 shadow presidential primary, their answer to the Schumer Rorschach test may take on outsized weight. Take Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, who has been not so subtly making the pre-2028 rounds, and I brought this up before. The only time we were ever actually able to get a stab at a strong social safety net and accomplish things is when we had a president that was filthy fucking rich. Do we have to have a J.D. Pritzker, or J.B., I'm sorry, J.B. Pritzker, and his immense wealth in order to be able to take on Trump? On Tuesday, he stopped by the Center for American Progress for the first of that think tank sessions helping navigate the second Trump era. When given a chance to back up Schumer's vote that kept the government lights on, facing a midnight deadline at the end of last week, Pritzker took a pass. Look, he's the elected leader. I disagree with what he did vehemently. But I also know that he has done good work as a Senate leader in other ways. Counterpoint to Pritzker's light touch on Schumer is Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who I think should probably be the party leader, number one fundraiser, and the best at being able to get her message out on social media. Perhaps what the party needs is a Pritzker AOC ticket. I'm open. Across the political spectrum, there was a sincere uneasiness about Democrats were moving forward. Representative Glenn Ivey of Maryland so far is alone and openly calling for Schumer to exit, but he is likely to find companions if things continue pace. Once the run-of-the-mill lawmakers' consultants can show them polling to prove this isn't a risky footing, expect plenty of others to follow. California Governor Gavin Newsom, meanwhile, is working to broaden his base in ways that are either canny or clumsy. I would say clumsy. The verdict is still out. He urged Senate Democrats to shut down the government rather than give Republicans the win on a spending plan that made deep cuts, but also defended his recent chummy conversations with insiders like Steve Bannon and Charlie Kirk. I think we all agreed after the last election that it's important for Democrats to explore new and unique ways of talking to people. Newsom told supporters by email. For those liberals who've already unfollowed Newsom on Blue Sky, Governor Tim Walz may be more their speed as Republicans are shutting down town halls to avoid angry constituents. Walz is backfilling with a tour of House districts with the Republican incumbents. On the topic of Senate Democrats and shutting down the government, Walz recently put the issue to an Omaha audience. I get the overwhelming feeling that the vast majority of people wish they would have voted no. Is that true? The audience erupted with applause. There's no shortage of others whose recent moves seem less focused on steering the party forward and more about claiming their space on the 2028 bingo card. Maryland Governor Wes Moore headlined a white tie dinner with Washington insiders. Foreign Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg last week passed on a Senate run in Michigan. Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear remains one of the most popular governors in the country. Former North Carolina Governor Ray Cooper. Then there's Vice President Kamala Harris, who, no. I don't think she's going to be a factor in 2028. Run for governor of California. I'd rather not see you win. I'd rather see Katie Porter be the governor of California, but you probably stand a shot at winning, and if it keeps you from getting into the 2028 race. But then again, if it's an open primary, you probably fall flat on your face. Let's not kid ourselves.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Though she had gotten better. Apparently, the reporting is that Biden pressured her. So I guess under those circumstances, if you cannot distance yourself from Biden at all, and like I don't know how she didn't just stand up to him and be like, I'm gonna run my own campaign. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, she should have stood up to him, but then again, like, what did he have over her? Did he have some donors or consultants? I mean, it was pretty much his campaign apparatus that she took over because she didn't have time. I'm just laying out the facts. Don't act like I'm some Harris stan over here. Florida Democrats hosted town halls in GOP-held districts.
As part of a nationwide effort, Florida Democrats are hosting a series of town halls targeting Republican districts across the state. 10 Tampa Bay political reporter Aaron Parsegian is in Clearwater with a look at one of the first.
This room was full of Democratic voters here in Congressional District 13, a seat held by Republican Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna since 2022. And in a way, they voiced concerns and asked.
Okay, I didn't know we were going to Anna Paulina Luna's district, because I might have to take up for her. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I'm looking for a GOP mommy. And Anna Paulina Luna, Anna Paulina Luna can totally be my GOP mommy.
Questions to her.
I have called and emailed and I heard nothing from you.
One by one, Pinellas County constituents stepped up to the mic, addressing a cardboard picture of their representative.
These are not red and blue issues. These are red, white, and blue issues. They affect all of us as Americans.
Many upset and angry over Trump administration policies and Elon Musk's role in federal cuts.
Many of my neighbors who are my age, my husband's 83, I'm 81, were terrified that DOGE is going to cut Social Security.
This Florida Democratic Party town hall, one of several happening in red districts across the state. A mobilization effort sparked after a Politico report earlier this month highlighted a directive for Republican reps to stop holding in-person town halls amid backlash.
We wanted to make sure that there was an opportunity for people in the communities to be heard and to be listened to. And unfortunately, Republican Congress members are just not coming home. They're not coming home to answer the questions of what's happening in Washington, D.C.
Florida Dems Chair Nikki Fried moderated alongside Whitney Fox, the Democratic candidate who lost to Luna by 9.5 points in this district last November. We reached out to the Congresswoman's office Saturday night and are waiting to hear back. Meantime, Florida Republican Party Chairman Evan Power responding to this town hall blitz, saying voters recently had town halls called elections, adding this is manufactured outrage that doesn't speak for Floridians.
And while these town halls are happening, Republicans feel confident about where they stand here in the state right now, holding a 1.2 million registered voter advantage over the Democrats. In Clearwater, Aaron Parsegian, 10 Tampa Bay.
Thank you, Aaron. And Florida Dems are following this with more town halls, including ones in Sumter County tomorrow and Seminole County next week.
I'm just saying. Anna Paulina Luna can be my GOP mommy. She even winked at me.
You live in sexual anarchy?
Protesters gathered in Idaho to protest their senator. That's how bad it's gotten.
Earlier this month, congressional Republicans were being
How many times have we played news from Idaho?
advised to avoid holding in-person town halls from GOP leadership because they were showing a tendency to get a little hot, with constituents pushing back on what is happening under President Trump's policies. Even outside of those town halls, these types of protests were popping up all over the country since the beginning of February. They call them 50-51, 50 protests, 50 cities, one day, to demonstrate against the new administration's stance on everything from immigration to the war in Gaza. And they've had several here in Boise, most being held at the state capitol. But today, they moved their movement to a Garden City hotel, where inside one of Idaho's senators was speaking. Aspen Shumpert was there, and Aspen, it looked like there were hundreds of people who showed up to this.
Yeah, definitely hundreds. Protesters say they want to be heard by their elected officials about legislative overreach impacting human rights. They want to know the people elected to represent them have Idahoans' best interest in mind. Each year, the Boise Metro Chamber hosts 2 forums with legislators as guest speakers. Earlier this year, the state superintendent of public instruction, Debbie Critchfield, spoke. Today, it was Senator Mike.
Shameful crapo.
The forum at the Riverside Hotel required pre-registration and payment to attend. It was not open to the public. The group of protesters outside the event told me Senator Crapo hasn't made himself available to take questions or talk with his constituents in person. They say they'll continue to march until they feel heard.
President Trump is turning the United States into a dictatorship. He's ignoring Congress, he's ignoring the voters, he's ignoring the Supreme Court eventually. And I think that we need to let our representatives know that people are scared, people are worried.
Although cameras were not allowed inside the private forum today, I was sitting at a table designated for press to hear what Crapo had to say. He talked for about 20 minutes. He addressed the changes that come with the new administration and what he's been up to since January. The moderator said they had enough time for 5 questions for Crapo following his comments. The questions submitted by members of the audience were about taxes, his stance on the CHIPS Act, and federal layoffs going into fire season. What he did not address was what was happening outside. The the hundreds of people on the other side of the hotel doors trying to get his attention. I requested to speak to Crapo either before or after the event, and his team said his schedule would not allow for that today. I have also not heard from event organizers on their stance about protesters being outside of events today.
Okay, it's interesting. I know they were warned not to do these town halls. I was looking it up. Idaho Statesman and the Idaho Democratic Party kind of did this. The last time a town hall was held by Congressman Rush Fulcher, 2024, but the next one was canceled because that one kind of went crazy. Mike Crapo, Senator Crapo, 2022 was the last time he held a town hall.
Yep.
Jim Risch was in 2020, and then Mike Simpson, the last time he held a town hall open to the public, 2012.
Yeah, and the people that you're mentioning have been a part of these Boise Metro forums before,
Right.
so maybe that's the outlet that they think people can come and address.
Still got to
that.
pay to get into it, though.
Still got to pay.
All right. Thank you very much, Aspen.
Did you say her name was Aspirin? That's a weird name, but who am I to judge? Last night, I did a story about a senator, a state senator from Minnesota, who put forward a bill to label Trump derangement syndrome as a mental illness. Last night, a couple hours before the stream, he got arrested for soliciting a minor for sex. I shouldn't laugh at this. This is not funny. We're going to hear from the Minnesota Senate GOP leader on Senator Justin Eichhorn's solicitation charges.
Well, thank you for being here today. Appreciate the opportunity to talk a little bit about the situation that we have at the Minnesota Senate. As many of you know, we've sent out a statement asking that Senator Eichhorn submit his resignation to the Senate. And based on the charges that we've seen today, we're more adamant in that regard. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to get together and discuss.
Why?
As a caucus today, we'll be doing that.
You guys are into that shit. We know this.
Our next steps are going to be throughout this week and as this goes forward. So with that, I'm sorry, I don't have a lot more information than what you have seen. So we'll continue to analyze the situation.
Will you ask for his expulsion tomorrow on the Senate floor?
We're going to get together today as a caucus and just talk about some of the options going forward.
Did you discuss with the caucus yesterday before that statement went out? Was that unanimous amongst them, or was that led by you?
You know, you saw the caucus statement go out. It was from the caucus. So that's really what we wanted to make sure is that as a caucus, we were very united, and you saw that in the statement. I have not been able to speak with Senator Eichhorn. Right now he's in a situation where it's very difficult to communicate, and so we haven't been able to speak.
How disturbing are the specific allegations?
Look, I haven't had time to process the charges themselves. I know there are some challenging things within there, but again, until we get some more information and look through that, it's a very, very unfortunate situation, and we've asked for the resignation based on the charges and based on the information that we have.
Can you talk about some of the options you might have? I mean, expulsion may be one. The things you might discuss in the caucus.
Sure. So expulsion is one. We've asked for the letter of recommendation. We've also we're putting together a 10.5 letter right now, which removes them from the committees themselves. So those will be a couple of the issues that we're going to be working through. But yes, we're taking the action that we can from the caucus level and hoping to see that resignation from Senator Eichhorn. We as a caucus have called for resignation, so we will see when he's able, to have the opportunity to do so. But we're going to be discussing that later. Thank you.
The police chief said something in his statement about how harsher penalties are needed for this type of infraction or crime. Is that something you might address this session?
I appreciate that. I mean, this is such a fluid situation. We'll assess what's going on. But thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
The senator going to be facing federal charges. I think it was a sting by local police, but apparently the feds are stepping in. Latest details.
Well, Governor Walz also just responded to the arrest and federal charges filed today against State Senator Justin Eichhorn, who's accused of trying to solicit someone he thought was a teenage girl.
Oh, we've been crying.
Coverage on this story, starting with Danny Spiewak.
Danny,
He been crying. Oh my God. Anarcho Ashkenazi, welcome in, my friend. This was still is a Minnesota state senator, a Republican, charged with soliciting an underage girl. He had just put forward a bill to label Trump derangement syndrome as a legitimate mental disorder.
Accused of trying to solicit someone he thought was a teenage girl. We have team coverage on this story, starting with Danny Spiewak.
Danny, there's some pretty shocking allegations in the charging documents. Is that right?
Yeah, and for that reason, Governor Walz says that he believes that Eichhorn should resign his seat. He said that just in the last hour or two in a news conference after coming out of a budget meeting with legislative leaders. Walz says he supports Senate Republicans who issued a second demand today for Eichhorn to resign, saying that with the charges coming out, it only reinforces the idea that he should step down from the caucus. Eichhorn was charged both state and federally, but the state charges were dismissed so that the U.S. attorney can take over. According to those federal charges, Eichhorn responded to an online ad for sex that was posted as part of a sex trafficking operation. Prosecutors say Eichhorn communicated with an undercover officer between March 11th and March 17th, asking if the officer was available and discussing rates at one point. The federal criminal complaint includes a text message from Eichhorn where he says, it says age of consent is 16. Over 18 is in a position of authority. Walz says he wants to stay consistent here and call for Eichhorn's resignation just as he called for DFL.
Well, at least he was asking about age of consent.
Trial in a felony burglary case.
I would hope people don't use it for political leverage, but use it as an opportunity to join together, that you cannot prey on our children and expect to get away from it. That's a big deal.
Now
I do want to stay consistent here because, like, I am totally against cops doing this kind of sting. I feel like this is entrapment. It should totally be illegal. Cops shouldn't be allowed to pose as prostitutes or underage kids or anything. Like, it creates sex trafficking when they do that. You know that, right? So, but also, ha 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 on this motherfucker.
DFL Senate side leader Erin Murphy has not yet called for the resignation of Eichhorn on the Republican side. She says that the allegations are deeply disturbing, raise a lot of questions, but has not called for his resignation, just as she has not called for Mitchell's resignation in the DFL caucus. However, an individual senator, Senator May Quaid, saying today in her own statement that she believes that Eichhorn should resign as soon as humanly possible, in her words. Back to you.
Danny, we are in an active legislative session. What does this do with him not in the chamber right now? And if he does resign and they have to do a special election, is that what would happen next?
Yes, if he were to resign, there'd be a special election, and it's a Republican seat. He represents Grand Rapids in north central Minnesota. But without him there, it would put the Republicans down 2 in the Senate. And then, this is just going to be another item of business that senators have to deal with. Tomorrow, it's possible.
Just another item of business.
Bring a motion to expel him. They can't talk to him right now, though, because he's in jail. So can't even resign right now because there's a process you have to go through, but he's sitting in custody in downtown Minneapolis.
He can't even resign right now because he's in jail.
All right, Danny, thank you.
Well, now let's talk about the ramifications of Eichhorn's arrest. Ian Russell is here, who spoke with the former U.S. attorney late this afternoon.
Yeah, we spoke with Erica McDonald. She's the former U.S. attorney for the District of Minnesota. She says it's really not all that surprising to see those federal charges brought on here, especially considering what those charges lay out. They allege Eichhorn asked what he thought was a 17-year-old girl when she was available over the span of about a week, even discussing, as Danny mentioned, the age of consent. Eichhorn was arrested on Monday. Charging documents allege he also used language that McDonald says indicates knowledge of doing this previously, including acronyms for visits lasting different amounts of time. If convicted on those federal charges, he would spend at minimum 10 years in prison.
The fact that he is referencing the age of consent, according to the allegations. In other words, saying, well, you're over the age of 16, and 16 is the age of consent, absent any abuse of authority. That's really, really telling of somebody who is cognizant of what he's doing. He's done it before, and he knows exactly who he's targeting.
Now, McDonald told me in her experience as a U.S. attorney, she thinks that if he is convicted, he'll receive somewhere
not just the age of consent, but also that he was soliciting her, so it's underage prostitution. That's pretty fucking serious, but also it's entrapment by the cops. Bagheera, good evening.
Between that minimum of 10 years and 14 years as well.
That's just so sad all around, and it's incredibly sad for his family, wife and 4 kids. All right, thank you, Ian.
Well, he is in a position of authority, though, but I mean, he wasn't in authority over her, I guess, unless you consider, a legislature in a position of authority. I guess that means like a boss or something in the strictest sense. I've been fighting with Warlord over this release of the JFK files. He believes it confirms that the CIA did it. I'm like, no, it doesn't. We learned nothing new, but here are the key takeaways.
John F. Kennedy's assassination. President Trump ordered thousands of pages of documents to be declassified and made available to the public after more than 60 years. Our senior national correspondent, Terry Moran, has the story. Terry, good morning.
Good morning, Whit. Who killed JFK?
I'm not high enough for this shit.
This country for more than 60 years, and polls show most Americans don't accept the official version. This new trove of documents, so far, is unlikely to change many minds.
Saying most Americans on anything, like most Americans are fucking stupid, so I don't give a shit what they say.
This morning, more than 60 years after President John F. Kennedy's assassination, more than
MLK did it.
1,000 pages of unredacted files, long held secret, are now public. The highly anticipated document drop did not reveal any bombshells, but there are some new details about the CIA and how it operated around the time of Kennedy's death.
This is a pretty big deal for many who harbored the notion that there was a greater conspiracy at work. Now they'll be able to see exactly what the government had.
One of the files, known as the Schlesinger Memo, revealed that some of President Kennedy's closest associates did not trust the CIA and were skeptical of its motives. Another file
should have been
the curtain on some CIA operations. The organization was tapping Soviet and Cuban telephones at their diplomatic facilities in Mexico City.
Not shocking.
Locations Lee Harvey Oswald visited in the months before the assassination.
Not shocking. And I think we knew that already, didn't we?
This latest JFK document drop, a promise from President Trump, who signed an executive order to have the records released without redactions.
That didn't happen.
While the initial investigation of the assassination determined 24-year-old Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone in killing Kennedy, and subsequent investigations confirmed that, all that hasn't stopped decades of conspiracy theories.
Why was Kennedy killed? Who benefited? Who has the power to cover it up?
I think that it will be frustrating to
the Oliver Stone movie, great movie.
A greater conspiracy. There are still a lot of questions.
Do not take it as some sort of historically accurate
credibility to the
piece of work.
There was a greater conspiracy at work.
Fantastic movie.
A few documents related to Robert F. Kennedy and to Martin Luther King Jr. were also released, including some related to their assassinations. But so far there were no new information that changes established conclusions either. Guys?
So
back into the list.
Conspiracy theories there. All right, Terry, thank you.
Fantastic movie. As Oliver Stone, great filmmaker. Love him. He's batshit fucking crazy. Don't use it as a source of information. It's a fucking movie. I had a professor of history, and he specialized civil rights era, JFK specifically. It's a documentary. I had him on the original Freak Show because it was like the anniversary one year. It was like the God damn, I don't know. It was like 2012, 2013, whenever he came on. I don't know whatever anniversary that was. It was something 5th maybe. It was a nice round number, and I had because he was a professor at the college and answered all my questions, everything, like, because I didn't know, like, the presidential, like, car is, like, built up to where the seat sits up high and it's kind of turned. So that explains how the bullet went and blah, blah, blah. But, like, they don't tell you, like, mundane shit like that. It's more fun to talk about, Fucking Oswald couldn't have made the shot. Yeah, he could have. I know there's the Jesse Ventura episode of Conspiracy Theory where he's like, I'm a trained Navy SEAL and I couldn't make this. Can't make this. No, I couldn't do it. But apparently the shot is not that difficult. And Oswald, they always point to like his marksmanship score was years before that, but apparently he'd been training. Yeah, I think that's what Jesse Ventura went into. He's like, he couldn't do it with that rifle and that speed. I think that was the thing that he was hung up on the Conspiracy Theory show. But that's Jesse Ventura once again. I love all these crazy motherfuckers. I love John McAfee, and I loved Penn. Penn is like sane. Like he doesn't even call himself a libertarian anymore, if I remember correctly. Like he's like, nope, I'm not one of them. Do not label me as one of them. So, like I've always been into like the crazy motherfuckers. Big Bill Hicks fan. Bill Hicks was convinced. He went to the JFK museum, and it's like, do you know why they won't let you walk up to the window? Because they didn't want tourists running out every day screaming, no fucking way! There's pigeons flying around. Coo, coo. We're going to Texas. I'm going to hit the content warning for this one. Texas officials have announced a third arrest in what they're calling an illegal abortion case involving a Houston area midwife.
Also tonight, the story.
And by these stories are just going to get more and more common. Welcome to fascist America.
Of a mother-to-be who now feels she was misled into having an abortion by a midwife. Prosecutors say,
wait, what?
Pretending to be a doctor.
ABC 13's Jessica Willey joins us live in Cyprus at one of 3 clinics.
Okay, this sounds really, really wild. Maybe I've made a snap judgment about this before we had all the details. Hold the fuck on here.
Also tonight, the story of a mother-to-be who now feels she was misled into having an abortion by a midwife. Prosecutors say was pretending to be a doctor.
ABC 13's Jessica Willey joins us live in Cyprus at one of 3 clinics she operated. Jess, a lot of new information since we covered this story last night.
Yeah, Erica, as you know, abortions have been mostly illegal in Texas since 2022. This one patient told investigators she recently had twins and wanted medical advice when she became pregnant again. So according to court records, she and her husband saw this woman called Dr. Maria, who spends time at several clinics, including this one here in Cyprus. Well, records state she is not a doctor at all.
But we don't deal with abortion at all. We deal with life and helping babies be born.
As a midwife herself, Holly Sherman was shocked to learn of the allegations against Maria Rojas, a friend and colleague for nearly a decade, a licensed midwife, now accused of pretending to be a doctor and performing abortions.
Why Maria? Why? Yeah. Well, one, I don't believe she's guilty of any of this stuff.
According to court documents, state investigators were tipped off in January that 3 clinics in Waller and Harris counties operated by Rojas were performing abortions. For weeks, they watched and took pictures as patients came and went, some for general medical treatment, court records state. But earlier this month, a woman identified by the initials EG underwent an abortion. She told investigators she thought Rojas was a gynecologist who everyone called Dr. Maria. She said Rojas told her pregnancy had just a 9% success rate. She paid her 3 payments of more than $1,300 and was administered the abortion drug misoprostol. When investigators told her Rojas was not a doctor, court records state she was shocked. Rojas and an
Okay, so she just did one of the morning after pills or the Plan B or whatever, because there's different stages of it. So she didn't actually put her up on stirrups and go up her pussy. I shouldn't have said it that way. I don't know what to think about this.
Employee Jose Late were arrested earlier this month. Both are charged in Waller County with practicing medicine without a license and performing abortion. A third man is also charged with practicing without a license. Investigators believe the men worked at the clinics and called Rojas in to perform more complicated procedures. Payments were by Zelle and patients were given
birth canal. Thank you.
During
Ponder
search
Monkey.
warrants, court records state misoprostol and other pharmaceuticals were seized. Additional names are included, so more charges are possible. E.G. reported she had some bleeding. Holly Sherman says this is not the Maria Rojas she knows.
The Maria I know is
Seriously curious. This is Texas.
a devout Catholic, and we never talked about abortion. It just never came up. It's not what we do as midwives.
Jessica Willey, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that story. It's Texas. I think more information is needed and will come out. This woman could be unfairly prosecuted. Yeah, sorry for the graphic description. My bad on that one. Going to Aurora, Colorado, where we have an officer-involved shooting.
This all started actually in Geneva very early this morning around 1:30. That's when Geneva police tell us that an officer there, a Geneva police officer, was investigating a suspicious vehicle in a parking lot in the 1500 block of South Randall Road with possibly an intoxicated driver. We're told by Geneva police that that officer asked that man to exit the vehicle. That person allegedly did not, started driving away, dragging the Geneva police officer. That officer was rushed to a nearby hospital.
That's what I was thinking, Ponder
That'll
Monkey.
happen again 1:30. Then, about 15 minutes later, down here in Aurora police spotted that car in question and tried pulling the driver over, and a pursuit began. Aurora police eventually put out stop sticks, stopping.
Ponder Monkey, it seems like a gorgeous area. Oh, there's a chase. I bet we don't have helicopter footage because it was outside of Denver.
Pursuit began. Aurora police eventually put out stop sticks, stopping that car around.
Been in Denver, probably would have had a helicopter.
In this video, you see the suspect's car with bullet holes. Here's
Chief
Keith Cross explaining what happened next.
As Aurora police officers attempted to contact the driver displayed a weapon, and the two Aurora police officers discharged their firearms at the driver. This resulted in the driver being struck by gunfire. Officers from the Aurora Police Department, as well as deputies from the Kane County Sheriff's Office, then rendered aid to the individual until he was transported to a local hospital by Aurora Fire paramedics. The individual was pronounced deceased a short time later.
That so far is really all we know about that man. We don't have any more information about that person who died this morning by the hands of Aurora police. The Geneva officer reportedly dragged in this case, again seriously injured but reportedly in stable condition. The Aurora officers involved in this police-involved shooting are now on paid administrative leave, and we're told by the state's attorney, the Kane County state's attorney, that body cam will not yet be released, part of the investigation, which is now.
It's the Troll Patrol, Globus.
Crimes Task Force. In Aurora, Elizabeth Matthews, Fox 32, Chicago.
That's what we go for. I've changed the title of the stream nowadays to argue with me about politics now with the phone number and Discord. And it's worked out really well. We've got a lot more people in here, and I appreciate it. And I'm into that shit. Gotta hit the content warning again. Am I into people watching? I'm into body cam watching. Okay, this one. This is what you've all been waiting for. I'm going to hit the content warning one more time. This is body cam footage. This was Illinois, a man wielding a chainsaw shot by Illinois police.
This happened back on December 1st of last year at the River Glen of St. Charles Senior Living Facility. Police called to that facility on reports that a man was inside with a chainsaw.
You wish.
It didn't take officers long to find Daniel Escalera.
Hey, drop it! Drop it! Drop it! Drop it!
A police officer threatening to use a taser on Escalera unless he dropped the chainsaw. Escalera didn't comply.
I don't think he's a resident.
He starts the chainsaw. That's when the officer deployed his taser, hitting Escalera in the chest. But look what happens. He was briefly knocked down, springs back up, grabs the chainsaw, and starts running toward the officer. A chase followed, leading to a volley of gunfire.
Shots fired!
We've frozen the video the moments before Escalera was shot and killed. The 41-year-old man was from West Central Indiana, and police never determined a connection between him and this home. He did have a lengthy criminal history. The Kane County State's Attorney says based
Alien,
on the
welcome
evidence,
in.
the St. Charles police officer had...
No, we got a Texas Chainsaw Massacre here. Chicago Chainsaw Massacre.
Had a reasonable belief that deadly force was needed, and Ravi, none of those residents inside that home were injured.
I mean,
it's on YouTube. Subscribe to
Minty. Well, from what we've seen, I might have to say, yeah, they probably should have shot him. Yeah, they probably did the right thing there, and good job, cops. You know, Bagheera, just saying that because he has a Spanish-sounding last name is really racist. You realize that, right? A few weeks ago, we covered this story. A reporter went to New Orleans to cover the Super Bowl. Found dead. A woman was seen leaving his hotel room. She has now been charged with murder. Oh my God.
Police in Louisiana are investigating whether a sports reporter was drugged before his death while covering the Super Bowl in New Orleans. Adam Manzano was found in his hotel room in a New Orleans suburb last Wednesday. He was a reporter for KGKC, Telemundo in Kansas City, and Tico Sports. A woman who was seen going into Manzano's room hours before he was found dead allegedly had his cell phone and credit card in her home.
I guess they took her weave off.
Investigators say the suspect has an arrest history that includes allegations of drugging individuals to facilitate theft. She's currently facing theft and fraud charges.
They call that pulling a Cardi. I ain't mad about it. Most of those Johns probably deserve to be robbed. That dude was a reporter, though. Did he solicit her? We didn't really get a lot of info. We go out to L.A. where this is such a 90s story. A music executive and L.A. gang leader has been accused of mafia-like crimes. West Side.
The massive raid took place in just the past 24 hours, and the charges range from racketeering to murder.
Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes is live in downtown L.A. Joins us now.
No, they don't, War Machine. You're right.
Yeah, it sounds like the Crips have been crimped. The FBI announcing that they made a sweeping bust of the Rolling 60s Crips gang, but are still looking for its longtime leader. Now, here's some Air 7 video from earlier this morning.
He's proud of himself.
Some of the alleged gang members being processed in tents at the FBI's Los Angeles office. Search warrants executed at 6 different locations today. Hundreds of agents and officers arresting 10 people. In all, 19 have been indicted. 4 were already in custody, so at least 5 more arrests are expected. But the search is on for the man they say has been heading up the local Crips gang for decades, Eugene Henley Jr. Investigators say he's been painting himself as an entertainment executive.
Well, that's not a cool name.
To the community with various charities, but they say in reality he's a violent criminal, the leader of the Crips, with a long list of crimes on his resume.
Big U, I guess, what they call him.
Paint a very different picture. It is one of a murderer, a thief, a liar, and a cheat, and the criminals that enabled him. For example, Mr. Henley engaged in a murder of a musician
talk about it.
in 2021 and dumped the victim's body in Las Vegas off of the I-15 freeway.
Oh, who hasn't done that?
Now, here's one more look at Henley. Again, he's on the loose. If you know where he is.
Who hasn't dumped a body in Vegas?
FBI. Now, prosecutors say right now Henley is charged with racketeering conspiracy, which carries a 20-year prison sentence, but that other charges may follow. Reporting live in downtown L.A., Rob Hayes, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
You haven't dumped a hooker in Vegas, my lord? You seem like exactly the person who would dump a hooker in Vegas. I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. I apologize. I'm so sorry, Lord. I'm not right. I'm not. Cancel Justin. We've been keeping up with this story of the young lady who went missing. I guess she was on spring break in the Dominican Republic. I feel like this happens every other spring break or so, or is it every spring break? We get a little American girl go down to some foreign island and get kidnapped by a rich dude. I'm just assuming that's what happened.
The disappearance of University of Pittsburgh student Sudiksha Kanaki, who went missing on spring break in the Dominican Republic. Authorities have now confiscated the passport of 22-year-old Joshua Reby, a senior on vacation from St. Cloud State University in Minnesota. Reby was questioned.
It wasn't a local this time.
By the Attorney General on Sunday. Now, he is believed to be the last person to see Sudiksha alive, but Reby is not a suspect in her disappearance at this time. He is, however, being surveilled at his hotel and was further questioned again today. And now, surveillance is giving us a clearer visual of the events of that night. First at the resort's bar, where you can see Kanaki on the left in white with friends just hours before she was reported missing. The second spot shadow is Reby, who at one point is seen bent over and stumbling. Then there is this surveillance video of the two later walking to the beach together. Kanaki's belongings were later found on a lounge chair at the same beach. Joining me now is CNN Chief Law Enforcement and Intelligence Analyst John Miller. John, this is such a difficult moment for this family. And can you parse for us why
he's a person of interest
is being held if he is not a suspect?
Well, Laura, this was something that they did early on, which is, you know, when they started questioning people and they knew he was the last one to be with her.
It wasn't a local, but I assume he's rich.
They looked at his passport and they said, you know, we're going to keep this. That has given them the advantage to say, well, he is not in custody, he's not a suspect, he's not a person of interest, but they've had the insurance that he's also not able to leave as long as they hold his passport. And they've had a couple of detectives on him all the time, which means if he goes somewhere, they go with him. If he's asleep at night, they're outside because he is right at this point, a critical witness in the case. And because they have his passport and they're keeping an eye on him, they're not going to lose track of him.
And of course, everyone has to remember, this is not the United States. The same constitutional directives and plans are not available. And so how long they can keep him and withhold his passport from him is a question for everyone. Reeby also has been questioned by the Dominican National Police. It's happened more than once. Also by the Dominican Attorney General himself, and also by investigators from Loudoun County, where Sudiksha is from. NBC News actually spotted him with investigators at the beach. Why would they want to question him there, do you think?
So that's not the first time they have brought him down there. I've been in touch with investigators on this case over the last week and a half, and this is what we would call a walkthrough in a case like this, where you bring him back to the beach, and you want to get this very clear. So you take him down there and you say, all right, so listen, where do you think you guys went into the water? Can you walk us there? Can you point that out? How are you fixing that location in your mind based on what's here? Where was the chair that you say you went to sleep in? And where was the chair where you were initially took off your clothes, emptied your pockets, and left your belongings there? When you saw her walking at an angle in the surf up to her knees in the waves again, after you told us that you were able to pull her out where she seemed to be almost drowning, which direction was she going? What spot was that? You know, they're trying to figure out, are we looking in the right place?
We will detain people as long as we damn well please now.
And, of course,
especially if they look like her and not him.
Consistency. If they do have any suspicions, I'm sure they'll want to investigate further. We
feel like he's getting treated worse there than he would here.
But if he is allowed to leave the Dominican Republic, could they force him back at some point? And, of course, he and Reeby are both Americans. If he goes back to the United States, does law enforcement here pick up the investigation?
No, the Dominican National Police are going to be the lead in this investigation. The FBI has opened a case
let that motherfucker leave
under the criteria that they are providing assistance to a foreign law enforcement organization to the extent that the Dominican government asked for that assistance. But you said consistency, which is an important point. The reason Mike Chapman, the Loudoun County Sheriff, sent 2 of his investigators from Virginia down to the Dominican Republic, where they have no jurisdiction, was for exactly that point, which is, you know, they talked about the number of times he's been interviewed with his lawyer, 2 lawyers. Loudoun County interviewed him with his lawyer in the Dominican Republic and his father, but there was no translator involved. They asked him questions in English, he answered in English. So they said he was very forthcoming.
She was a U.S. resident.
Any significant inconsistencies.
Winchy poo!
That they found him to be a credible witness. Now, the other thing is there were questions he wouldn't answer in the first interview. Simple questions like, how did all this make you feel? What was the statement you made about the girl when you got back to your hotel room? And, you know, that was on the advice of his lawyer. So they still aren't sure where they are in this case.
John Miller, this must be excruciating for the family of Sudiksha. They just want to know what happened with their daughter and where she might be. John Miller, thank you so much.
Thanks, Laura.
They didn't mention that the family is wanting the Dominican Republic to declare her dead. I guess that somehow helps, like maybe an investigation start here in the U.S. or something. Brings the U.S. in somehow. Oh, this is the whole goddamn thing. We might watch this for the 5th anniversary show. It is definitely not going to be my 50th anniversary. We are almost a month away exactly from the Troll Patrol. I guess I'm going with Plead the 5th anniversary spectacular. I'm open to, here we go. Yes, this is what we want to watch. We're going to go to Law and Crime for the update on Lori Vallow Daybell. This crazy story. What? It's out of Idaho, isn't it? I mentioned something about not watching news out of Idaho, but I think this one was out of Idaho. It got heated in the courtroom.
Do you really think we need to screen that far out?
Idaho.
You're being overly cautious.
I think, especially given that I'm not positive we'll pick a jury in that first week, I think we should, Your Honor.
All right. Defense have any comment on how we're screened through May 15th?
I think it's plenty of time, Your Honor, myself.
All right, let's deal with a couple things. First, I've received the notice of compliance. That was when the defendant requested the Gilbert video. Does that apply to the second case or this case?
Your Honor, it's an incident that occurred in
Justin
January.
Bareski.
It's not really, it was disclosed because it is mentioned in the DR. The defense had filed a motion for the
I was about to say, where is she even at?
disclose that, and then had brought up again on the 11th that the state had not disclosed it, that there was some YouTube video of that. I have looked for said YouTube video. I have gone through the police report. I don't know what video she's discussing, but we're not aware of any video that hasn't been disclosed. So I'm just providing notice that disclosure is complete as to that police report that is peripherally relevant.
All right. Any comment on that?
Yes, Your Honor. For clarity, is the state proposing that there is no video or that they don't have to give it to me because it's not attached to that DR number?
I think what she said was she's not aware of what video you referenced. So as far as her knowledge, she doesn't have it and doesn't know about it.
So I should go directly to Gilbert Police Department to get it?
Well, last time you were in court, you said your investigator or someone told you about it.
A mitigator.
A YouTube video.
Showed it to me.
If they have that link, why don't they just send it to the state, and that may help the state determine if that's something they've already disclosed.
I will tell you why they won't, because that is my former team, and they will not do anything to help my investigator, my paralegal. They won't give us any information that they found. They won't talk to us at all because apparently there was a conflict. So they will not help us. They will not send us anything. They will not email us anything. They will not answer anything that we ask them to. So that has been the response from my former defense team.
Who in this chat still would? I know some of you sickos would.
That's where we are.
All right. Do you know, and maybe your advisory councils can speak to this,
I'd give her a titty slap.
over a file to you, or did you have to start from scratch?
Come on now.
No. From what I understand, all they turned over was the 22 terabyte hard drive, and that is it. They didn't turn down any notes, any work product, nothing that they had done to that point. Continue to stand by that today, even though a lot of that information I gave to them, they would not give it back to me.
All right. I'm going to make an order, and it'll be in the minute entry that they
Murder. She murdered her kids, Bagheera.
copy of their entire file, including any mitigation information that was gathered to the advisory council. That makes Hicks, you look like you want to say something.
I don't know. No, I'm good, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, so I'll do a more detailed order about, they should have turned over a copy of their entire file to advisory council when they withdrew.
Oh, she's almost certainly guilty. I mean, I guess I'm open to the possibility that she's not, but it really seems like she's guilty. We don't have any alternate theory. Maybe they're gonna go with like some Mexican guy or something. Sorry, I didn't mean to toast the microphone. Well, here's the thing: is the kids were older. Like they were like 11 and 12 or some shit. She was just a few years away from not paying child support.
Received any response from the defense, anyone from the defense team since you filed this on March 16th?
Your Honor, last night at 10:30 or so, defendant's investigator sent over a list of the addresses of the witnesses. I did speak with him this morning.
Was that the extent of her getting testy with the judge?
Will be setting up those interviews, or if they will be providing phone numbers to the state to set them up ourselves.
I was hoping this would be juicier than what it is.
Again, last night at like 10:30 at night, defense investigator emailed the.
All right, let's set aside Dworkin for the time being.
No Dworkin.
So well, let me ask the investigator. What's your name, sir?
Jeff.
Jeff what?
White.
Okay, Mr. White, are you going to be setting up interviews for the state to interview whatever potential witnesses the defendants noticed?
I'm trying to verify. Excuse me, sir. I'm trying to verify the phone numbers to be correct. I do have a few of them, but some of them I'm trying to make sure that these are the correct numbers.
Okay.
I did the searches for them, and I have to apologize. I left yesterday, and for some odd reason, my email just did not go through. So,
Your Honor, my understanding is that the state has interviewed every single person on my witness list previously. That's where I got the people from the interviews that they had from the state previously. So I understand that they're allowed to do another interview of them, but they have interviews of every single person that is on my list, with the exception of one.
Which is who?
Which is Nate Eaton.
Okay. When you say the state's done the interview,
damn it, Nate.
Police or someone from the prosecutor's office?
In discovery, I have interviews with police on every single one of the witnesses that are on my list.
Okay.
So I know that they had their addresses. I know that we were trying to get the addresses to them in the quickest way possible. And where I am at the jail, the communication is very difficult for me to get a hold of my investigator, to get a hold of my paralegal. I'm 23 hours a day locked down. If I don't have Wi-Fi, I don't have a phone. If
Is she defending herself?
I don't have a phone. I don't have access to get to people.
Because if so, I'm going to pay way more attention to this.
I understand the time constraints.
That's why, Media Winch. I think she's defending herself.
Getting things put together.
I think what you're seeing here is that's her paralegal. That's not a lawyer.
Okay.
So I know that they had their addresses. I know that we were trying to get the addresses to them in the quickest way possible. And where I am at the jail, the communication is very difficult for me to get a hold of my investigator, to get a hold of my paralegal. I'm 23 hours a day locked down. If I don't have Wi-Fi, I don't have a phone. If I don't have battery, I don't have a phone. I don't have access to get to people. So I understand the time constraints, and we're doing the best that we can of getting things answered, getting things put together.
So
Yeah, I'm thinking she is defending herself because there was no lawyer speaking. When he addressed the defense, he addressed her. That woman next to her was a hired paralegal that is consulting her. And the other dude was an investigator. She does not have a lawyer telling her to shut the fuck up. So that's just gonna be that much more awesome to watch. A California family says a roller coaster killed their kid, and that's not shocking to me at all. They're suing Magic Mountain. Tell us about it, Mark Brown. I bet Magic Mountain's what they call Mark Brown.
According to the lawsuit, the family believes the young man's death was because of a roller coaster.
New at 5, Eyewitness News reporter Jessica DeNova spoke to the family about...
Well, you got it, Solus. Let's do it. What's up, my friend? 917-830-4359. Or you can hop in the Discord. Pick the topic. Let's go. Media Winch. Did I even say anything? Did I watch you last night and not say anything? Or did I even say something? Because I had you on while I was working. But I don't know if I ever like popped in and was like, hey. Oh, I did? Okay. Okay, because I do that sometimes. Like, I'll pop in, but also you were covering Shasta, so I probably didn't stay all that long. But I had you up for a little while. But it wasn't like Shasta. Like, it was people in Shasta talking about Shasta. It wasn't actual Shasta board meeting. Thank you for the resub, Carla. Gotta love having you here. Hung out with you, was it last night? I popped in your stream, we raided you. Well, then maybe we come in after Subs, because you weren't watching the board. You were watching some interview they were doing about the board. Monday was what was... Oh. Yeah, Tuesday is the Bay Board of Supervisors. Is that it? It's like Bay Area politics. No, the Matrix was a couple of... That was last week, I think. Because I came in and bitch, I have strong opinions about the Matrix. No, you were watching an anime, and it was like the ass end of it. And unless it's the Matrix anime I don't know about, which I don't know anything about anime. And then you hopped off and we listened to music for a little bit. Animatrix. See, know nothing about it. Hey, what happened to the motherfucker that wanted to argue? Goddamn. Did you hop in the Discord? I don't know about it. No. Where's this argument at? I stopped the news for this shit. Oh, you did what? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I have horrible memory. Oh, okay. Never mind then. But welcome in, Solus. Glad to have you here. They're telling me I'm going blind. And I think that's one of the, like, I've been starting to have headaches. It's probably I'm staring at a screen all day. I need glasses. Oh, no, they're cool. I understand. Not everybody can call in. They just thought they wanted to come in and argue in the chat. They didn't know it was a full-on debate. Let's get back to sexy-ass Mark Brown telling us what's going on with this family suing a roller coaster.
Because of a roller coaster.
New at 5, Eyewitness News reporter Jessica DeNova spoke to the family about what happened and their next steps.
I feel like it would be worse to have never had sight than to have had sight and, like, you know what people are talking about, you know, references, you know what colors are and shit, you know, if you lose your sight later in life. But then again, maybe then you know what you're missing out on and it makes it worse. I don't know. I feel sorry for every blind person. My beef is with deaf people, not blind people. You blind people are cool in my book.
A A summer day riding roller coasters, the plan for the
Might be the woke mind virus creeping up on me.
2022. This visit to Six Flags Magic Mountain taking a deadly turn after riding X2.
Christopher, he just looked very red, and then he eventually just collapsed on his way off the ride.
According to the family's attorney, Christopher Hawley was rushed to a nearby hospital and died the following day. A wrongful death lawsuit filed against the theme park and the ride manufacturer alleges the 22-year-old suffered massive head and brain damage from the ride.
At the time of trial, we'll be able to show this was not an injury he suffered earlier in the day or sometime prior in his life, but happened during the X2 ride.
The LA County Medical Examiner ruling blunt head trauma as the cause of death. On its website, the theme park describes speeds of nearly 80 miles per hour for this roller coaster. Christopher's younger brother remembers a sudden halt.
Like our heads just went forward and then just all the way slammed back really hard.
Mom says Christopher didn't suffer from any health issues. Nearly 3 years later, she can't adjust to life without her oldest son.
It's supposed to be the four of us. We weren't supposed to lose one of our boys. And not that way.
An aspiring actor just graduating from college, weeks shy of his 23rd birthday, suddenly gone.
And he was my son, but he was also a friend. We did so much.
Eyewitness News reached out to the theme park, but as of Tuesday afternoon, no response. As this family prepares for trial, they demand answers.
And we want to know. We've not heard anything from Magic Mountain. There's been no explanation as to what happened or why things happened.
The trial is set to start on October 13th in LA County Superior Court. Reporting in Garden Grove, Jessica De Nova, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, here's the one that everybody's been waiting for. We've got a hero in our midst. This man might be our new Luigi. He was riding a bike in Texas, I believe. Accused of firing shots at a cop and a landlord during an eviction.
Bullets fly through a busy apartment complex, and police say the shooter was aiming for a deputy constable and a landlord.
Only on 13 tonight, the two men are showing us how serving an eviction notice suddenly turned dangerous. Harpuja Lodia has the story from Lamarck on Rosalie Street near FM 1765 and Highway 3.
It really
Gonna be seeing a lot more of these stories, ladies and gentlemen, non-binary folk.
is incredible that nobody out here was hurt, especially when you stop to consider just how many people live out here and just how close so many of these units are. Now, according to that deputy constable, he had told the tenant that he was going to be here in the afternoon to serve an eviction notice. So that deputy constable and the landlord were right there at unit 15. So
it's me catching myself saying ladies and gentlemen out of a force of habit and correcting it midway. Thank you very much.
Here in the parking lot and started shooting.
Could just call you bitches.
Today, the cleanup begins. Clearing out personal belongings, including this gun, from an apartment whose tenant won't be back. Yesterday at this time, bullets whizzed through the air, flying past families.
It blew my mind, really, honestly. I felt like it could have went way better than it did. I don't know what state of mind that they were in. I just hope that they're getting the help that they need.
Thank God he didn't have clear.
They should just call you guys freaks.
So we were on the second level, but then further away. I was scared, but I knew that the officer had like a vest, so I kind of ducked behind him, so to lower myself, and he was in front of me.
We're concealing the landlord's name because
yes, use the cop as a shield. Thank you. That's exactly what you do.
The shooter will be back. He was here with Sergeant Danny Allen when they say the tenant fired 5 or 6 shots.
Kids everywhere.
He's on the run?
My mother was in my truck right next to him. Yeah, I mean, he seemed to be very, emotional.
You have to sit back and think first, what is the aftermath in something like this? And I think at the time when the landlord was parked behind the individual that was shooting. If I would have fired back, his mother was too close proximity. If I would engage the defendant, so I just chose not to at the time.
Lamarck police have identified the shooter as 28-year-old William Rudd. They say he rode off on his bike after firing his gun, but was found just a few minutes away with what they believe is the same gun. According to the landlord, Rudd hadn't paid rent in 2 months and had missed a court hearing about it. Residents here are shaken up, but relieved nobody was hurt.
You might have
rode off on his bike and they didn't catch him.
A person that's willing to do anything they can to keep a roof over their head, so it's pretty dangerous.
Reporting in Lamarck, Pooja Lodia, ABC 13.
I've never heard a cop say that. I have never heard a cop say that he hesitated and was concerned for the well-being of other people. First time in my 5 years almost of doing this show, DJ Dub. I'm sorry, Flash. DJ Dub was just the first message I saw. He's just riding off into the sunset after living out the dream. Oh no, he's still a bitch. A-cab to that motherfucker. But at least he had some fucking sense.
County, where 2 people are hurt after a small plane crash. Thanks for joining us tonight at 5. I'm Lauren St. Germain.
And I'm Nadine Yanis. Paul is off tonight.
Hey,
Take a look at this
Nadine.
video. Authorities say that plane clipped a power line and then crashed into a parked truck. It happened around 10 o'clock this morning at Airport Manatee. That's right off of US 41 in Palmetto. And that is where we find.
This is on the West Coast? Where the fuck are we at?
ABC Action News reporter.
Where is Manatee County?
JJ, you've been following this story for us all afternoon. What are you seeing tonight?
The scene out here now clear, and we do know that firefighters or fire truck just left out of here, but again, the scene back there.
Florida.
2 men who were involved were taken to the hospital and expected to survive with non-life-threatening injuries. Here's some video again. I want to show you, this is the plane. It's the small yellow plane. According to Randy Warren with the sheriff's office, this was a vintage plane, or believes it was a vintage plane. That's what the FAA is looking into with their investigation right now.
Oh, this is Clinkley's neck of the woods.
The crash happened again right before 10 o'clock this morning. They say the plane had some difficulty, and then the crash happened. Here he is talking more about that.
Then the plane veered off to the left and clipped a power line, and then the crash was into a pickup truck that was parked, an unoccupied pickup truck. There was no one on the ground that was injured.
That dude was totally former military.
2 area hospitals, one of those hospitals being Tampa General. And again, non-life-threatening injuries. The FAA is taking over this investigation. As soon as we get more information, we will let you know. Things here at the airport, though, back to regular. We did see a plane just take off. Again, small planes out here at the Manatee Airport. Reporting live in Manatee County, I'm JJ Burton, ABC Action News.
All right.
Thank you, JJ. He's dynamite. Wait a minute. He's even dressed like him. He just needs the fucking hat. The fuck? No, you don't, Bagheera. I need to hit the content warning on this one. These last couple of horrific stories we're going to do, these involve apparently abuse of children, so. A student with autism was apparently abused by staff at his school. This was in Texas, I believe.
County, the district is calling a special board meeting this Friday to address the job status of 3 employees at Millsap Elementary. It's all due to a video that reportedly shows a teacher and assistant hitting a 10-year-old child. The boy's mother says her son has autism, and the school took 20 days to notify her. Millsap ISD says the 2 teachers are no longer employed, but this Friday, the Millsap ISD board will consider a
That's appalling.
Special board meeting this Friday to address the job status of 3 employees at Millsap Elementary. It's all due to a video that reportedly shows a teacher and assistant hitting a 10-year-old child. The boy's mother says her son has autism, and the school took 21 days to notify her. Millsap ISD says the 2 teachers are no longer employed, but this Friday, the Millsap ISD board will consider a possible separation agreement with the superintendent and discuss the status of the principal and assistant principal who are currently on leave.
The one woman throwing the toy at him, that could have been playful. But then again, it looked very dismissive. That one woman slapped the shit out of a kid, Bagheera. How'd you not see that? That was absolutely abuse. Jesus. The other woman throwing the toy on the kid. That's a little different. DJ Dub. Throwing out the bits. Thank you, my friend. It's not the only child abuse story I have. Apparently, a kid in Miami had his mouth taped shut. It was a 5-year-old.
Just one station with a pre-K teacher accused of crossing the line while trying to discipline.
Biddies for them titties.
A titty slap!
Come on now.
In a 5-year-old, the little girl's mother outraged.
I do love that emote.
Ali is live in Northwest Miami-Dade.
That's why. I was wondering why no one ever uses that. It's because you gotta throw out the bits for it, don't you? Oh my God.
With the exclusive, Jessica.
This teacher is accused of using tape to keep a little girl from talking in class. Now that teacher has been removed from the classroom.
It bothers me. That's my child.
Lationa Sterling is angry.
It's like you try to shut her up.
Over what happened to her 5-year-old daughter, Treasure, at Laura Park.
Got every right to be angry.
I heard about it from my daughter.
Natasha Clay is Treasure's godmother and says her daughter, Janiyah, watched it happen while in their pre-kindergarten classroom. Janiyah later told her mom what she saw.
We were sitting at home on Friday night watching TV. She looked over there to me and she was like, Mom, Miss Nunez put tape over Treasure's mouth and Treasure was saying, She tore the tape and she put it over her mouth.
She did it, the parents say, to discipline and quiet the child.
The teacher put tape over her cousin's mouth and she witnessed it.
And the mothers this week complained to the school and filed a report with Miami-Dade Schools Police.
I apologize 1,000 times. It won't happen again.
And that's some of what they tell us the text messages they received from the teacher.
Nor will I play with them again this way, but it's because they
play with them.
Apology not accepted. The moms say they plan to withdraw the girls from the school.
Abuse have been done to my goddaughter that was very abusive for anybody to place tape over her mouth.
Other parents at the school Wednesday aren't happy either.
It's very scary for the child. That ain't right. Who wants that to happen? No one wants that to happen.
According to Miami-Dade County Public Schools officials, they tell us the employee has been reassigned from the classroom pending the outcome of the investigation into these allegations. We're live in Miami. Jessica Hawley, 7 News.
The Soros box doesn't work as well as an emote. I need to switch it up, make the text bigger or something. But I love the fucking shirt. I have no bad feelings about this. I don't understand why this is a story. Apparently, a director has been arrested because they swindled Netflix out of $11 million. I feel like if Netflix gives you $11 million, that's on Netflix. I don't think you can swindle Netflix out of it. They just throw money around. A Hollywood writer-director was arrested on Tuesday on charges that he swindled $11 million from Netflix for a sci-fi show that never aired, instead steering the cash towards cryptocurrency investments. purchased a fleet of Rolls Royces and a Ferrari. Carl, how can you buy a fleet of Rolls Royces and a Ferrari? I guess it's every bit of the 11 million, right? Carl Eric Reich. It's what, a Rolls Royce? 800,000? 600,000? Something like that. He's perhaps best known for directing the film 47 Ronin. Yeah, what constitutes a fleet? Ferraris are like 10K for... Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can get like a cheap Ferrari or something for like 100 grand maybe. More than 3 for sure, Flash. I am certain. Starts around 250K for the cheaper ones. Okay. I'm for a nice Rolls Royce, you're 600, 800,000, I would assume. He's been charged with wire fraud. You think you get an old an old Rolls Royce for 10K? Okay, yeah. Perhaps best known for directing the 47 Ronin films, has been charged with wire fraud, money laundering, or what federal prosecutors allege was a scheme to defraud the streaming giant. Prosecutors said Netflix had initially paid about $44 million to purchase an unfinished show called White Horse from Wrench, but eventually doled out another $11 million after he said he needed the additional cash to complete the show. Wait, they gave the motherfucker like $55 million in total? Rather than using the extra money to wrap up production, Wrench quietly transferred the money to a personal brokerage account where he made a series of failed investments and lost about half of the $11 million in 2 months. The filmmaker then dumped the rest of his money into cryptocurrency, which proved to be a profitable move, with Wrench eventually transferring the earnings into a personal bank account. From there, Wrench spent about $10 million on personal expenses and luxury items. According to prosecutors, that included $1.8 million on credit card bills, $1 million on lawyers to sue Netflix for more money, $3.8 million on furniture and antiques, $2.4 million on 5 Rolls Royces, $400 grand a piece. Is that what that is? About 500 grand? And 1 Ferrari. Okay, the Ferrari is in there on it. So 6 altogether. Also spent 652 grand on watches and clothes. The initial court hearing was held on Monday. We didn't get a fucking shot of him. Terry, welcome in. What's this motherfucker look like? Oh, this dude. This is David Griscom's Wario. God damn. We have a controversy brewing in Miami about a film. I don't know anything else about this story. I'm going into it completely blind. Miami Beach mayor withdraws proposal to end O Cinema's theater lease after film controversy. What's the controversy? They showed a Mel Gibson movie?
Developing this afternoon, a heated debate over the fate of a movie theater at the center of a film fight. A decision on whether to try and shut down the cinema just reached.
7's Jordan Segundo has it live from Jordan.
Well, Alex and Ethan,
I thought this was America. They're trying to shut them down because they showed a documentary about Palestine. Fuck that. Fuck that. Oh, the one that won the Oscar. Oh my God. Fuck Florida.
was a very, very intense morning here at City Hall, and city commissioners didn't even have to make a vote. That's because the mayor actually decided to revoke his decision to evict O-Cinema and then deciding to defer his second resolution that would have encouraged O-Cinema
for showing a movie.
Balanced viewpoint of the war in the Middle East. Now, his two proposals and resolutions drew a big crowd to City Hall today. Many people actually speaking out against his ideas. Some were in favor of them. Now,
Julie, good evening.
We're encouraging the mayor to actually have more of an open discussion about this idea. But at the end of the day,
what
the mayor
bullshit?
comes forward and saying that his decision was to evoke that resolution to
need to pack another one.
Theaters lease, as well as deferring his decision again to have them show more movies that would have actually allowed more of a balanced viewpoint of the Middle East. He did come forward and say that this was a very emotional topic for him. He even started off today's discussion by saying, with all the backlash that he's given or was getting, also getting a lot of hate mail, even threatening emails. So again, with this situation, now the public here can know that he did evoke the resolution to evict the theater, so they will now stay in place, and so we will be moving forward with the situation. We'll have more of this story coming to you later on today. We're on 7 for now, reporting live from Miami Beach. Jordan Segundo, 7 News.
Well, at least they came to the right conclusion finally, and it probably drew more attention to the film, so look at it on the bright side. But goddamn, the chilling effect that is going on. Yeah, Flash. The Streisand effect drawing more attention to it. But the chilling effect that is going on in this country for them trying to shut down free speech is really pissing me off. Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, all you fucknut Republicans in the Senate, the House, you've got your dumb fuck FBI Director Kash Patel, his dipshit Deputy Director Dan Bongino. Any of you DHS stupid fucks like Pam Bondi, you want to come get me? You want to come get me? I'm going to continue to run my fucking mouth. Send me to Guantanamo Bay, bitches. Also, fuck Israel. I know plenty of awesome Jewish people. And I understand that anti-Semitism is rampant because let me tell you, the people on Rumble, BitChute, they think I'm Jewish. I didn't realize how bad anti-Semitism is. But the state of Israel is a pariah state. And it needs to be stopped. Man allegedly bit another passenger on a plane landing at LAX.
The guy was just thrashing, he was sweating. He wasn't in control of himself, obviously.
New at 11, we're now hearing about the takedown of a passenger who went on a wild rampage, including biting someone on board a Delta Airlines flight heading to LAX. The frightening scene playing out several hours into the flight, forcing fellow passengers to step up and help hold the man down. Eyewitness News reporter Michelle Fisher joining us now with what one of those passengers is saying tonight. Michelle?
Mark, tonight an
Cthulhu cultist
incident is
welcome in, my friend.
And as law enforcement seeks answers, that Good Samaritan who jumped in to help is trying to make sense of this.
We're one step closer to the zombie apocalypse.
Chaotic scene he witnessed.
He had him in a bear hug, and that's when he bit me.
A scarred shoulder and a story to tell.
Light one up, tip one back.
The moment he was bitten as he helped restrain an unruly passenger Monday on Delta Flight 501 from Atlanta to LAX.
About 4 hours into the flight when this happened, so we were basically coming into land at LAX.
The aircraft seen here at Gate 32 successfully landed shortly before noon, thanks in part to Gurney and others who stepped in as a male passenger experienced a mental health episode.
The guy was just thrashing, he was sweating. He wasn't in control of himself, obviously. This guy was like kind of a little bit stronger than any of the female flight attendants. And it would have been probably silly for them to step in because at that point the guy had already hit a woman and a man, had punched them.
Where are you from, Australia?
Saying they're aware that a male individual struck other passengers on board a Delta flight from Atlanta to LAX. Los Angeles World Airports Police Department responded and interviewed multiple witnesses. They eventually transported the disruptive passenger to a local hospital for medical evaluation.
Bath salts is so 2012. Do they still do that shit?
FAA and law enforcement are now investigating, with the airline saying, quote, Delta has zero tolerance for unruly behavior and will work with law enforcement authorities. Even
you don't hear about it anymore, it seems.
Shoulder, Gurney sees a silver lining.
It was just really comforting to know that people will stand up and help, even though it might not be their job.
It's the latest mid-air incident making headlines.
Well, hey.
This month, a Southwest flight was delayed after this female passenger stripped naked before takeoff.
How'd I miss that one? How did I miss that one? I did not do that story. Wow. That woman needs a titty slap.
A titty slap!
Come on now.
Girl of the Gray, good evening. I cover this shit. That is the kind of story I would have heard about. How is that one? How did that one elude me? That's insane.
They eventually transported the disruptive passenger to a local hospital for medical evaluation. The FAA and law
there's video of it
investigating, with the airline saying, quote, Delta has zero tolerance for unruly behavior and will work with law enforcement authorities. Even with his bruised purple shoulder, Gurney sees a silver lining.
It was just really comforting to know that people will stand up and help, even though it might not be their job.
It's the latest mid-air incident making headlines. Earlier this month,
she's just chilling.
Flight was delayed after this female passenger stripped naked before takeoff. And this scene last month, as passengers aboard a Frontier flight.
Wait. Was she completely naked, not just titties out? Hold on. I gotta find this one.
Mid-air incident making headlines. Earlier this month, a Southwest flight was delayed after this female passenger stripped naked before takeoff. And this scene last month, as passengers aboard a Frontier flight restrained an unruly passenger after he kicked seats and broke an interior plexiglass window.
Happened 2 weeks ago.
And
was that when the State of the Union and shit was going on? Is that why it would have went under my radar? 2 weeks ago exactly.
Tonight, it is still unclear what happened.
Jamming out with your clam out.
LAX was taken to the hospital, but he could be facing criminal charges.
What fantastic timing, Girl of the Gray.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown.
Hey, Mark Brown. Yeah, this happened 2 weeks ago. That's what I'm going to assume. It was the State of the Union, and that's why I was slacking on my job.
Southwest flight at Hobby Airport that had to return to the gate after a woman on board took off her clothes before departure and demanded to be let off the plane.
But not before passengers say she tried to get into the cockpit. This is video one passenger took before the woman was removed from the plane. Jason Miles is live from Hobby Airport with more on the incident and advice for if you find yourself in this situation and are flying soon. Jason.
Yes, I'm referring to it as the State of the Union, but my Lord is right. Presidents don't do a State of the Union in their first year because they've not had a chance to affect the State of the Union. So they have a joint address to a joint session of the Congress. It's virtually the same thing, but not called the State of the Union. I even got it wrong in the title. Thank you for the correction, my Lord. I like to be factual, so I appreciate you doing that.
Hey there, guys. As you know, spring break coming up for a lot of folks. This place will be really busy next week. Obviously, issues do arise on airplanes. In this case, passengers appear to do exactly what experts suggest.
You're not wrong, Flash.
A Southwest flight bound for Phoenix Monday afternoon failed to make it far from the gate before passengers say this woman suddenly got up and got undressed.
She turned around facing us and stripped all of her clothes off.
A passenger who did not want to be identified for personal reasons told me the woman removed everything from her hat to her shoes, then began shouting while walking up and down the aisle, demanding to be let out.
She then proceeded to make her way back towards the front of the plane and started banging on the cockpit doors, asking to be let in, and she was screaming.
How would you describe an incident like this?
Oh, man. When it first happened, it was really scary.
According to the FAA, unruly passenger incidents that airline crews report to the agency have leveled off since a dramatic spike in 2021, but still exceeded 2,000 incidents last year. Advice if you're ever
Igloo, welcome in, my friend.
Passenger is to remain calm and move away if possible, and only intervene if requested by the flight crew which never happened in this latest case.
Very weird that nobody kind of intervened. Everyone kind of recognized, I think, the situation and just let her run on and on.
I'm told a gate agent wrapped the woman in a blanket upon the flight's
A gay agent? Why did we need to include that fact?
turn before you can see her dart toward the jetway in this video.
If it's a male flight attendant, I'm pretty sure they're gay anyway. You didn't have to tell me.
A statement, Southwest said, quote, local law enforcement met Flight 733.
I'm horrible. Cancel me.
After it returned to the gate because of a customer situation on board. We apologize to our customers for the delay in their travels and appreciate their patience as our teams worked to get them to their destinations as quickly as possible.
Have a good night, T-minus.
And Southwest tells me it is in touch with all of the passengers who are on that flight. In many cases like this, you may be entitled to vouchers or other concessions. As for that unruly passenger, I just heard back from Houston police. No charges were filed, but she was transported for medical evaluation.
Cancel Justin now.
Hobby Airport, Jason Miles, KHOU 11 News.
What an episode.
That's here's the thing is, like, I love the fact that there is nothing in my past that can come. I assure you, this seems like a good time to reiterate this. I've said it in the past, but given recent events, it's a good time for me to say it again. There is nothing in my past that could come out that every single person in this chat that has watched this show for an extended period of time wouldn't go, yeah, that sounds like Justin. So I am not worried about being canceled at all. There is nothing that can come out about me. Justin been arrested 3 times. You totally guessed the charges. Oh, Justin got arrested for possession of marijuana? Oh, wow. Shock face. There's audio and video of Justin saying every slur under the sun. Shock face. Yeah, Justin was caught in janitor's closet jacking off in high school. Shock face. Nothing will surprise you. That one wasn't a real holiday. Oh. But that's an example of one that if you heard, you're like, okay, that's Justin. Oh. Fishermen rescued 2 missing Florida teens after they were out on paddle boards and drifted off to sea. I'm presidential
off the Florida Keys after their paddleboard drifted out to sea.
I am not presidential material because, once again, like, there are many things in my past that people would consider scandalous and shocking, but not to anyone who knows me. That's just that's my Justin.
ABC's Eva Pilgrim has that story.
This morning,
I am the first one to admit that, I've said it on the show. I was 19, 20, had a 16-year-old girlfriend. Nobody in the town thought it was weird at all because that's just Eastern Kentucky. I can say for certain, she's my friend to this day. I can say for certain that in a situation like that, it could be an adult grooming a child. 16, the legal age of consent in Kentucky, by the way. So go ahead and put that one out. But she very much independent. She was the daughter of one of my coworkers at the radio station, and the first woman I ever loved, and I've told the story when I broke up with her. She brought me a jar that had like 365 reasons why I love you. It was because right before Valentine's Day, like she was an amazing woman, and compared to the current POTUS, yeah. I feel a little weird that, you know, it wasn't weird to anybody in the town, but also, like, the first time I ever, like, laid eyes on that girl, I knew that something was, and this was when I was in, like, 8th grade and she's in 4th grade or something. Like, you know, like, that's kind of really weird there, but, like, that's the first time I ever saw her. And then she was on the front page of the newspaper. I'm like a sophomore or something, because her dad was a big shot at the radio station, like let her pick the music or something during an hour, blah. There's something, they did a fucking feature on her, and I had that like newspaper clipping. So then, like, I'm 18 or 19, I'm getting ready to leave and go to college. I'm 18, and my radio station buys the radio station her dad works at. And right before I leave for college, I had to do like we're doing like some joint thing before the stations actually got together. But like he was down doing something in the town, and I was the board op. And as I'm like, hey, it's a pleasure to work with you. Look forward to meeting you and everything. His daughter's name was Jessica. I was like, tell Jessica I said hey. And apparently when I told him to tell Jessica to say hey, Jessica went fucking ballistic, like, oh my god, Justin, tell me, yeah, like, because like we both knew who each other were but had never met. So like this is like a crazy fucking story, but it's still weird, the age gap. I'm the first to admit it, so she skipped school one time. I was working at the other radio station after I got fired from that radio station. And she was skipping, this is like her senior year in high school. I feel like if you've gone to high school together, that's okay, but I need that to be a thing. I realize that. But I'm like, I would like split my day in half, and I would come back and nap in the like mid-morning, 10, 11, 12, take my lunch and everything, and then go back to the radio station. I'm there for like 5 or 6 more hours. And one time, like I met her at my house. It's like 10 in the morning. She skipped school. And like my mom's there and everything. I think we had just gotten up, and my mom is making her pancakes, and her dad comes and knocks on the door. It was like, Jessica, you need to come to school. And she's like, well, can I at least finish my pancakes? We were a cute couple, too. I've got pictures, yeah. It was like her homecoming or something. You gotta, oh my god. You gotta love this this picture up here in this corner. Because that's a picture of me like it was my headshot when I was in theater. We're a cute couple. I've got more pictures somewhere, I think, but like, I don't know if I ever scanned them. As I said, still, oh. Her father is this guy.
Live with JustinFREAKIN.
He's done the intro for all my shows to this day. That's her dad doing the voiceover. Freaking fun fact. All right, anyway, news. I wanted to listen to music with you. Let's go ahead and get the news over with. A fisherman rescues 2 missing Florida teens.
Drifted out to sea. ABC's Eva Pilgrim has that story.
This morning, new video of fishermen rescuing 2 missing Florida teens. You see them holding on to the same paddleboard. The fishermen throwing them over their shoulder, taking them to safety after a night out at sea, stuck on their own.
The number of boats that were on the water last night from our law enforcement agencies is just astounding. Add to that triple or quadruple the number of volunteers that we had out there. That's what made this a happy ending.
The pair left the Cedar Key fishing pier north of Tampa Monday afternoon to go paddleboarding. When they didn't return, their loved ones called 911. Multiple agencies showing up, launching an all-out search through the night and into the next day. A group of fishermen spotting the teens Tuesday morning.
As we were moving along,
Yeah, pack another one.
Alex
Wait till we get out of here.
Said, "Hey, that
Get the
looks
music.
like a raft." And as we pointed the boat towards the girls, they stood up and started waving at us, and then clearly we waved back.
High tide kind of pushed them up into that area, which was, I believe, around 4:30 this morning, and kind of held on to that island. And that's where we found them.
The teens telling the fishermen they noticed the rescue helicopter earlier in the night and tried to signal it.
They said they had seen the helicopter fly over 3 times.
Spotlight was just out of reach, it seemed like.
And they couldn't leave the paddleboard because the oyster shells are so sharp and they were barefooted. So they couldn't go to the spotlight. So
oh, wow.
We're hoping that it would go over the top of them.
Police believe strong winds and waves may have caused the girls to drift to some 14 miles from the pier they were trying to get back to.
As soon as we got there and ran over there, they were a little cut up, real cold, probably a hypothermic.
Kind of wanted to try to make them feel comfortable in some sort of way. And talking, they seemed like they were in good spirits in a bad situation.
The fishermen taking them to a nearby boat ramp where they were rushed by ambulance to the hospital. Both girls in good condition.
That was ABC's Eva Pilgrim reporting. And one thing that you really want to tell your kids and remind them, they did something very smart. The girls told someone where they were going, so when they didn't return, the search started immediately. It's another part of the happy ending.
Such a great happy ending.
Just
it could have ended so
tell
much
people where you're going.
worse. Absolutely.
Tell people where you're going. Good advice. This is your animal video for the night. It's going to be a heartstring puller. A French bulldog reunited with their owner after 2 years missing.
The San Fernando Valley has been searching for her missing dog for over 2 years.
We love this story here. Since then, she's become an animal advocate, helping others find their missing dogs. And now she's reunited with her beloved dog. She's talking to Chelsea Edwards. She is live in Arleta with this happy reunion. Chelsea.
Awesome in a couple of different
San
ways.
Fernando Valley has been searching for her missing
Hey,
dog
what?
for over 2 years.
We love this story.
I didn't do that.
She's become an animal advocate, helping others find their missing dogs. And now she's reunited with her beloved dog. She's talking to Fox 11's Chelsea Edwards. She is live in Arleta
Chelsea.
with this happy reunion. Chelsea.
How nice is it to be telling a happy story? It's just wonderful.
Yeah, I don't do that very often.
More than 2 years since this woman lost her dog, who she believes was stolen, and she has worked relentlessly during that time. She quit her job for 6 months to search for him exclusively. She hired a psychic medium.
Must be nice to have that kind of money.
Dogs, and then she built
hired a psychic
community, and they were active every single day that he was gone, and it finally paid off. Take a look.
Oh, he's so skinny.
Oh. Oh, he's so excited.
Just look at this. So this is the first time Yasmin Hazard and her pup Havoc finally get to see each other after 791 days apart.
Oh.
They showed up on an Apple Valley family's lawn just out of the blue last week. And then after some proper vetting with his microchip, they confirmed that they had the right pup. Now, this is the moment Yasmin had been hoping and praying for every single day since he had slipped out of her mother's care and then was stolen along a busy street. She says she felt like giving up a lot of times throughout all of this search, but she always
baby.
When he saw me, he recognized me right away. What you don't see on that video was my POV, my point of view, which I think is way better because he was in her arms, and as soon as he saw me, he was fighting to get out of her arms. And it's just a miracle. It's a miracle that he ended up on the right people's front lawn. It's a miracle that he was
The person with the camera was holding the dog, and you don't see the dog.
And it's a miracle that all these people saw it and sent it to me because I wouldn't have seen it that day.
So Yasmin believes that Havoc was stolen shortly after he ran off and then somehow ended up living with a family in San Bernardino County. But the details, of course, aren't clear. If only Havoc could talk. But he just showed up at Good Samaritan's property, and they took all the right steps to make sure he went to the right person. Now, right now, Yasmin is just enjoying having her beloved pup home with the 2 other ones that she has since adopted during her search. They're named Doppelganger for one that looks just like Havoc with just a few markings missing, and the other one who is named Mayhem. And like you said, she has since become kind of an
Mayhem and Havoc.
She has since reunited 5 different French bulldogs with their owners since she started this.
She only does French bulldogs, so she's only reuniting like rich people with their fucking puppies.
But I was invited to
God damn it.
Party this Saturday, and I just checked it to see whether it was somehow related to this Frenchie, but no, it's a different one. So is she aware of all these other Frenchies that have gone missing? And you said she's become an advocate to help people find them, but it's just such a coincidence.
They're all really a part of the same community, and yes, I know exactly the event that you're talking about, and she knows that person as well.
I'm sorry, we're going to come back to this. I forgot I had other news because there is shit going on right now that we should probably mention. 5 states under blizzard warnings. DJ Dub, are you still in here? How are you doing? Apparently, it is whiteout conditions where you're at. The Midwest getting slammed tonight.
We begin tonight with this major winter storm on this, the last day of winter. 75 million.
Fake news.
Alert at this hour for dangerous winds, possible tornadoes, and blizzard conditions. The Midwest gets hit tonight, moving into the Northeast tomorrow. At this hour, tornado watches in effect from Indiana to Kentucky. Dark clouds gathering in Mackinac, Illinois. South.
Was it earlier?
Near Monument, Colorado, south of Denver, the storm causing accidents, traffic coming to a halt. Powerful winds kicking up a dust storm in New Mexico, blinding.
Son, no you're not. I got video.
On I-40 east of Albuquerque. Tractor trailers and campers overturned by the winds on Interstate 25 in Colorado. And to the north tonight, the system bringing extreme blizzard and whiteout conditions. This is near Lincoln, Nebraska. Tractor trailers jackknifing on I-80, 166 miles of that interstate closed down for a time. Meteorologist Lee Goldberg tracking the storm for us tonight into the Midwest and the Northeast, and ABC's Maria Villarreal in the storm zone leading us off.
Tonight,
wow,
conditions on the last night of winter. Cars and tractor trailers littering multiple highways around Lincoln, Nebraska.
Oh shit, it is the last night of winter.
80. Winds gusting to 70 miles an hour, bending trees and traffic lights, knocking out power for hundreds of thousands across the Midwest. The massive system bringing all kinds of extreme weather, from snow to severe storms. 25 News meteorologist Kimberly Gomez tracking the storm. A tornado reported outside Peoria, Illinois late today.
We can't express this enough to get into your safe spaces.
Overnight, traffic at a standstill outside Denver after multiple semis jackknife in the snow on Interstate 25. And in New Mexico, a gruesome pileup in blinding conditions on Interstate 40 between Albuquerque and Santa Rosa.
Hopefully everybody's okay.
God damn!
Dude, we just got hit by an avalanche.
Multiple cars buried by an avalanche on State Road 210 in Utah's Cottonwood Canyons from the same system that's now headed east.
David, here in Oklahoma, wind gusts are hitting up to 50 miles per hour. Firefighters that we've been speaking to for the last few days say they're going to be on high alert all through.
Wildfires all across the country.
Those deadly and devastating wildfires that they've been fighting. David?
Yeah, we can see the winds and the storm clouds there behind you. Maria, thank you. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg of our station WABC here in New York. He's tracking it all again tonight for us. Hi, Lee.
Hey, David, severe weather right now in Chicago. Severe thunderstorm warnings and a tornado warning just south of the city, just west of Gary, Indiana. If you're in line at the storm, please take cover and get to a place of safety. Tornado watches extend down through Indiana into Kentucky till late this evening. Part of a storm bringing blizzard warnings to the Midwest and the fire danger and the high winds to the plains. The storm moves eastward.
What an insane storm.
Tomorrow morning. It's snowing all the way up to Green Bay, but it'll be snowing into Chicago tomorrow morning, and then cold winds behind it. Heavy rain will move eastward, reach the I-95 corridor by tomorrow evening. Maybe a half an inch of snow and big winds behind that in the Northeast on Friday. David?
All right, Lee Goldberg with us. Lee, we appreciate it as always.
Let's go to Iowa. This was reporting about an hour ago. They posted this. Blizzard conditions creating challenges for trucking
Dangerous
industry.
driving conditions are really taking a toll on a lot of Iowa truck deliveries.
One of those companies is Fairway. KCCI senior reporter Todd Magel is live in Boone. And Todd, how are they dealing with the logistics of this blizzard?
Laura and Jody, it's been a tough day. You know, conditions here in Boone are, well, they're terrible. Let's put it that way. Take a look. Wind chill about 6 degrees.
Terrible.
Wind gusts 50 miles an hour. We've been getting on and off showers and snow. You mentioned Fairway. You know, they are based in Boone. They deliver all over the state.
That doesn't look too bad.
It's been a challenge today.
It's imperative that we get there.
Mark Wyrick has a tough job. He's got to make sure Fairway's fleet of 77 refrigerated semi-trucks gets out to 144 grocery stores every day. But sometimes a blizzard gets in the way. He and his team spent Tuesday night and Wednesday watching the weather forecast and trying to keep store shelves stocked.
This is how it works.
Fairway uses a high-tech system that can track every truck. They can remotely monitor a front-mounted camera to see road conditions and even track speed. So they can reroute or even cancel deliveries if it's too dangerous.
They can accomplish getting some trailers loaded and we can get some trucks on the road to beat the storm at times. And that's what we did up in the Northwest with a handful of stores last night. We had, I believe, 5 loads that went up into that region and got out of there before the storm came in.
Wyrick wants to avoid scenes like this. Another company's semi-truck stuck on Highway 30 near Boone. He says the bottom line is driver safety.
We do not push drivers to go if they don't feel comfortable. We always say travel what the conditions allow you to. Keep to the speeds that you feel safe.
Fairway did have to move some of its delivery trucks off Highway 20, which is farther north in Iowa, down to Highway 30, where some of those blizzard conditions are a little more favorable. Now, keep in mind that most drivers are back from their routes earlier today, but they have to do this all over again starting at 1 a.m., so they hope some of that road conditions are improving. We're live in Boone. Todd Magel, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
Todd, thank you.
Are a major mess, certainly in the southern portion of Minnesota right now. Let's check in with Lauren.
I know a lesbian woman that looks exactly like him.
In the southern portion.
Be selective with your loads.
Let's check in with Lorna Andrego, who has been following the commute all morning long, and we saw her at the top of the hour. We see this jackknife semi-truck trying to unjackknife itself there, Lauren.
Yeah, this has been a struggle for this vehicle. We've seen this here for about 15 minutes.
Unjackknife itself?
Highway 14 in between Owatonna and Claremont, where MnDOT is reporting normal driving conditions. But as you can see, the roads are looking a little bit slick, even though flakes don't seem to be
not too bad
falling. We're seeing issues pop up more and more all across southern Minnesota. I'm seeing a new incident like every 5 minutes. I want to take you back to Clark's Grove. Look at this. We've got some major visibility concerns on I-35.
So this was kind of a spotty storm, it seems.
Just north of Albert Lee, where the visibility is becoming a serious concern and where we're really seeing more of those incidents being popped up. We had a law enforcement presence here. It looks like they abandoned the scene, calling for backup. I think the driver left this this semi truck, and we're going to need a bigger tow to get them out of here. A lot of vehicles driving with hazards on. And the problem with the wind is we've got blowing snow. So every 5 minutes, we kind of go back to square one on I-90 and I-35, even though we've got about 100 plows out on the roads right now. I'll show you the map because we've got an increasing amount
I'll give you something to plow.
of incidents all across I-90. The most problematic portion of the state seems to be I-90 between Blue Earth and Albert Lee. And as you can see, we've got reduced speeds on most of our highways here. That also includes
her traffic report in an area that none of you are in from this morning. It's probably pretty useless. Let's go back to Puppy.
Just look at this. So this is the first time
Twitch people, stick with me. We're going to watch a police chase. If you're watching on BitChute, DLive, Odyssey, Rumble, Kick, YouTube, go ahead, light one up, or the podcast.
With his microchip, they confirmed that they had.
Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKin. We'll see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol live.
Street. She says she felt like giving up a lot of times throughout all of this search, but she always held out some hope.